this all set up. All right. Sorry about this. This is very annoying. And I'm going to go ahead and move this tea before we have a whole situation on our hands. I am drinking tea today because I am not trying to do necessarily like, it's not a dry January type of thing. It's just I'm trying to be healthier thing, which I guess might be a one and the same, but I'm gonna let everybody hop on and make sure I have everything set up on my end so I can read comments as they come in. Happy New Year, everybody. Goodness gracious. All right, I'm gonna take a little sip of tea. This is one of my favorites. It's a spiced apple cider from Teavana, and I love it. Teavana, however you say it. I'm just gonna take a little sip only because I know it's probably like boiling. That's why I'm about 5 minutes late, is I needed to get in, and I'm gonna move this craft mat a bit so that we don't see countertop, which is not what we're trying to see. All right. I think everything is good. Think being the operative word. Okay. All right, letting everybody kind of get a minute to get on. I'm gonna take my watch off, get super duper settled. This is all kind of crooked. I'm on the struggle bus today, in case nobody could tell. Massive struggle bus. I can't tell if like the camera is what's really crooked or I'm really crooked. Sorry, this is really painful. You guys can fast forward through this if you're watching the replay. But first and foremost, let me say welcome. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining. I feel like this is actually straight now. So thank you guys so much for all the support you gave in 2023. If you would like to contribute in any way, there is actually a super chat button if you're in the chat hanging out with me during the live. And if you are watching in a replay, there should be a feature that is called Super Thanks, and you can use both of those features to contribute monetarily. If you want to contribute in other ways, I do have affiliate links for Ritual Planner and for Coffee Monster Co. It doesn't cost you anything. You can just use them alongside your purchases, and it gives me just a little bit of points or kickback for those particular companies, and that is wonderful as well. You just being here and dropping a heart and maybe consider subscribing is thanks enough as well. So after all of that fun shameless plugging, we are going to get into these 4 planners. So all 4 of these planners were used by me in 2023. I was consistent in these 2 more than anywhere else, and then we're going to get into the ones I'm probably the least consistent with first. So I'm going to set these lovelies off to the side, and we will come to them last because they are the fan faves. So the one that I'm going to start with is the one that I honestly feel like I struggled with the most, and that's my budget planner. The thing that I feel like I struggle with the most when it comes to a budget planner is the consistent tracking element. And I'm one of those people that if I don't necessarily like do the purchase, log the receipt, scan the receipt immediately, it can get a little crazy. So like if I've got a lot going on, like I've had the last couple days, and things are really wonky and crazy, and then I've got a bill pay day in there, it can just get all muddy, and I'm not really phenomenal at tracking. So I am hoping that in the new year, with the fact that I'm hoping to go cashless for as much of it as humanly possible, or not cashless, that came out wrong, cash envelope, so the literal opposite of that, because I'm hoping to do a cash envelope system, I'm hoping that that'll keep me a little bit better on the tracking end. And I think I think a big thing for me this year is going to be to try to slow down and to take some breaths. I had a really high anxiety day today, and I almost canceled the live stream. I was really close. My apartment is really cluttered still from the holidays. My job has ramped back up. There's a lot of, and as a planner community, I feel like you guys can relate. There's so much going on in that time that you switch over from your old planner to your new planner, and the setups and wrapping up and the back and forth. It can just seem very, very chaotic. So all those have just kind of, that and not being able to be at home and in my space as much as I thought I was going to be over the holidays has just really created a lot of stress. And my week is also really backwards this week. So that being said, I'm actually in the office the next 2 days, and it would normally be like Thursday and Friday are kind of my downhill. So I'm really nervous about the next 2 days, and I'm really focused on trying to be very calm this weekend and stay home and really just chill out and spend some time with myself and just being quiet. So hopefully I can get caught up. But getting back into the budget planner, this is where each month had a tab. So this is an older skinny classic happy planner, classic skinny happy planner, skinny classic happy planner, however you want to say it. It was one that I got on sale, and I didn't have a lot of use for the insert. What I liked was I just genuinely liked the aesthetic of the cover, and I really liked how the tabs looked. So I just wanted to roll with it because I really thought this would be great for years and years and years and years to come. Just really inspiring quotes like, be the energy you want to attract. A good day begins with a beautiful mindset. Just like really encouraging and calming, like kind of like a very neutral aesthetic as well. So what I did in this was I used older expense tracker sheets. Like these are probably like one of the original ones to come out that were able to be inserted in like the classics as well. I don't think the skinny had even been created at that point, but I used these expense trackers to, just as that sounds, track all of my expenses throughout the year. So I'm just going to kind of do a flip through as we go, and it's obviously that's what this video is it's going to be a flip through. I feel like some months I was better than others. I did try at the beginning of last year to do the cash envelope. So you're going to see a lot of like total, under and over. My limit that I was trying to go for was $150 a week, which is the same this time around. I have ultimately decided that I want to do an envelope switch every 8 days. And the reason behind that being, it will be a lot shorter of a time frame. And let me clarify that as well. It'll be every 8 days except for that last stretch of the month. So it'll be 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through to 24, I believe, 25 to the end of the month. So it might be shorter or longer. I think that's the right thing. I'm trying to remember. I think that that's what it comes out to. Because I think that every 7 days was great, except for that was giving me a really, really, really long stretch of a last week. And even though I think that I'd be okay in some cases, 22. That was my number. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Oh, it might actually, because that's every 7. Yeah, it is 8, 16, 24 to the end of the month. So in most cases, that's going to mean that that last week, I basically am splitting some of these days up. I feel like I'm not making any sense. So February is probably the worst example to use as well, because we also have a leap year this year. So 1 through 8 will be 150, 9 through 16, 7, yeah, 9 through 16. And then 17 to 24. 24 to the end of the month. So 29, 30, 31. So what that'll do is most of the time it'll mean that there might only be an extra day. Obviously in February I'm down a lot of days, so it'll work in my favor. But the essential gist is that if that envelope switches over and I'm staying in budget, we're all in a good place. That's the takeaway here, is that every 8 days I get a new envelope. Obviously find the system that works for you. I just feel like every 7 days, even though it makes sense because there's 7 days in a week, it became really stressful when I got down to this last stretch, because quite often it would be more like that last envelope being 10 days, and that just feels really high anxiety. And again, I'm trying to decrease the anxiety. So I think we're gonna try every 8. All of these months are also featured in their respective month flip throughs over on my channel. So if you kind of want to hear me rant a little bit more about maybe what happened that particular month, or, you know, something I might have struggled with, you can also find that information there. I feel like the most inconsistent months for me were September, October, and December. I traveled in September and in October, and then obviously December is the holiday season. I feel like I was off to a pretty good start, but definitely did not stay consistent. And I struggled a lot with this over the last few days, especially with them being quite busy. I struggled with making sure that all of the months were complete before I got into this live stream. And I think for me it was more important, and you'll also see how super sloppy this is. I'm going to just take a moment and pause. I did not need this to be pretty. I was more focused on tracking, because I feel like I do better with money management when I'm constantly tracking it. When it goes into like the universal abyss is when I start to like kind of black out spend and not pay attention. Some things that I do also take into account and I want to talk through. Here I go, starting multiple thoughts again. Finishing one thought. I did struggle a lot, and we're going to see this in the A6 when we get towards the end, where some pages for December are not complete because I just haven't gotten to them yet, mainly because I just legitimately have not had time to do so. It's not for lack of want, or I was just moving too much those days and didn't get the chance to fill anything in. So it happens. It's all part and parcel of having multiple planners and real lives that we're routing them around. So that's my overall statement, is that I am perfectly okay with the gaps in these planners, and I have decided that other than scanning the receipts for December, I'm not going to worry about what wasn't logged. To be quite honest, probably after this flip through, I'm going to rip most, if not all of this out and just toss it, unless it's a tab divider. I promise you that sounds like horrifying, but I don't need any of this. I'm not going to do anything with this information, really. I kind of have it in a few other places, so there's really not a super big need for me to keep it. I'm sure that begs the question of, well, why are you doing it again? I'm doing it again because I need to be better about my spending this year, so I need to go back to tracking. But I also am trying to do more no spends, unless they're, you know, I call it a non-essential no spend. So obviously buy your essentials, buy the things you need to replace, but let's not get crazy. Usually the places I get crazy, and I talk about this I think in every monthly flip through of this planner, the places where I'm gonna lose my marbles are gonna be Coffee Monster Co. and on Takeaway. Yeah, Hefty Damage was done. I'm sure there's another one somewhere, but like Hefty Damage was done quite frequently with Coffee Monster Co. And I love that. I love that that's, you know, it's not necessarily clothes, and, you know, to each their own with their vice. But I'll say that, you know, for me, now that I also know I'm not doing Ritual Planner this coming up year, so that's oh gosh, like let's just round it out, an $800 savings. I am going to be doing a monthly situation, but I don't know what the pricing is going to be, and I won't until later in the month. And it won't start until February, so I'm not like super stressed about it at the moment. But just for me personally, I have a tendency also to what's the phrasing I'm looking for? I'm very, oh, you had a really bad day? Let's go treat ourselves to dinner. I'm super sorry. Let's go have someone else cook dinner for us and you can tell me all about your day. I am that person that, and I will 100% stand behind that because that is what I did today for myself. It did not feel super great, and so I went out and I got something to eat, which was bad because I had healthy food planned. But my point being that I have a tendency to, and I do it with food more than I do it with any other thing. I don't necessarily like buy shoes, again, to each their own, or buy stickers for that matter. I just like black out with Coffee Monster Co. stuff, and I think that's just the whole like limited edition aspect of it. But because I'm more worried that I'm gonna be mad that I didn't order something. I am getting more better. That's incorrect grammar. I am getting better about the quantity. And not like needing to get 2 or 3 of everything. Like I can get like 1 or 2 depending on how much I think it's going to be used. But more or less, like for me in the new year with the goal and things that I look back on when I think of this, I see a lot of potential for growth and better management. I think too, I don't know, I say I'm going to throw it away, but I might keep it just for nostalgic purposes for a little bit. I'm trying to be better about not keeping everything in the God-given Son. Starting in August, and I'll call this out, I did start changing it up a little bit and trying maybe like a checklist system of all the things that could possibly need to get paid or I could pay towards. Whenever, and this is a good moment to pause because it's happened before, but I just want to like showcase this a little bit. If a purchase, like for Jeff's charcoal, if I knew he was going to reimburse me for something, I would still log the expense, but then the Venmo as well. If there was a gift to someone, I log it, but I don't count it against my $150 a week. The thing that I've got to like narrow in on this particular year is I need to log and count all purchases because it's still all being spent. But I think I struggle with, does this count against that budget or not? Because that budget doesn't always exist, or that expense, not budget, that expense might not always exist. So there are certain things that only get purchased quarterly, like my medicine, or a lot of Binks' supplies get purchased on like anywhere between quarterly or every other month. Like she's not like, knock on wood, that's not wood, that's particle board, but it'll count. A lot of her things just don't cost. Like I kind of order them off Chewy in a bulk and then her litter lasts for a long time. So that's not a weekly expense. That's more of a quarterly expense. I think what my goal is with those type of things is to kind of start figuring out where they're happening, saving for them, and kind of having that almost, I think they're called sinking funds. I could be wrong on that, but basically like pre-planning for that so that it's almost, or maybe when I pay off a certain credit card, saying, okay, cool, I'm going to go buy these quarterly items so I can start figuring out how much they're costing if they're changing. I don't know if that's not obvious. I'm actually in finance. So it's a very difficult, it's very difficult for people in finance to budget because we're always constantly thinking so far ahead. And I know that sounds really weird, but we're always thinking ahead and what's being done with things over time that we're not necessarily always thinking about the smaller picture. And I'm challenging myself to focus in on that because as I look for forward, I want to look forward to see what kind of trips and budgeting needs to get done. I need to consider at some point if I want to move out of my apartment, which would mean a fluctuation in fixed expenses, like obviously saving more for repairs or being, more conscientious of things that happen seasonally, that kind of thing. It's just something that, again, I feel like no matter what your goal is, the more you're tracking, the better you can do, because you're going to notice your patterns. I don't care if it's tracking your budget, tracking your water intake, your steps, your food, whatever. And I know I speak about this fervently when it comes to people with new planners, and I feel like this happens a lot in like the Coffee Monster group and other planner groups I've been a part of over time. One of the first things people will come in and they're like, I got fill in the blank planner. I don't know where to start. What should I do? And especially when it came to Coffee Monster Co., so many new people would hop on and they would say, hey, I'm new here. I have X budget. What should I get? Like, obviously you can get sucked in and want to buy the whole lot, but not everybody can afford that. And I always say the same thing. First and foremost, looking your planner. What are you tracking? So if your kid's in soccer or ballet, or you take a weekly cooking class, or you're language learning, or you have online classes, those are the things that you should buy stickers for, because that's what you're popping in your planner. That's what you're planning. Because it's easy to get in there and want to get like one of everything because you think it's cute. Like, I think the Gilmore Girls stickers are super freaking cute, but I don't need those until I decide to watch a Gilmore Girls binge. Same with Hamilton. I think Hamilton stickers are great. I watch Hamilton like twice a year, maybe. But there's so many stickers that I say this from a place of I bought so many stickers when I first started that I still haven't touched, and it's been almost 2 years in some cases. So I always recommend to do that first and foremost. And then I also recommend that people get samplers, because they're a really fun way to get a lot of different genres, but also not pay a whole bunch of money. My side rant and all that being, tracking is important. Even if you don't think it's important, it does play a really big role. As I flip through these, I definitely also see me being like cheeky and sneaky about not necessarily hiding a purchase, but justifying it or offloading it. Again, as we approached the holiday season and I started shopping a little bit more, I had lots of like Klarna and Affirm type of things, more checklists, because checks got really weird. There were some months where I had more than the usual, and things started to fluctuate. There were Christmas presents I needed to start focusing on as well. These little inserts are, I think they're a little bit more recent. I don't know if they still exist. One thing that I've already talked quite a bit about when it comes to my older or my new setups is that I still want to use my stash as much as possible, which is why I just dove in my stash, found a traveler's notebook for the new budget planner, and I'm just going to use like a random TN insert that I had to track. This is going to be a really short December flip. When we get back here, this is accurate, and then it starts to just get really wild, and then it just stops, dead stop. And then you'll see some cash back here because these are where my envelopes are. So like I said, what I'll probably do is pull all of these inserts out. If I have extras, which I think I only have in December, I'll go ahead and yank them out and pop them back in the folders that they go in, or the little envelopes that they go in, and clear this out. And then from there, I'll probably start separating these envelopes out into their respective months so that as I have filled them, so I have all of January's envelopes are full. I think I just started working on February's, just making sure I can get them full. I really would like to learn from my mistake of January, which was that I went to pretty much anywhere I could get cash back versus just going to a bank. And I think that that led to more spending, unfortunately. Unfortunately, my bank is actually in my hometown, and while there are branches, they're just not, it's not like Chase Bank or Wells Fargo or anything like that, where there's kind of like one on every street corner around here. They actually just built a new Chase like right down the street from my house, but and I have considered opening at some more easily accessible branch, but I've been with my bank for obviously forever, and they're really reliable and they stand behind their ethics, and I really appreciate that. I can honestly say that anytime I've ever had an issue, it's been very minimal. It's been fixed very quickly. Unlike some horror stories you hear about, you know, fraud and things like that. So I've been really lucky and I feel really blessed. And they have expanded a lot in terms of like where we can and cannot get things, but more or less, I kind of went to places like Sprouts or Target or Walmart where I could get cash back and not have to pay for it. And if I was already there picking up some groceries, it was easier. And I don't necessarily think I had the best mindset. I think I would have spent a lot less and been a lot more conscious of my errand running if I had just gone to the bank and picked it up. So that's a pro tip for you that was learned the hard way. But yeah, my thoughts on 2024 budget planning were pretty much well expressed in this last rant, but just some things that I want to keep in mind moving forward, just being consistent about logging and tracking. If you guys are interested in doing some budget stuff, I actually have a referral code for a way to get some really cool rewards if you're scanning your receipts. So I'll pop that down below in the comments and you guys can go straight there. And it's super awesome. And I actually use it so I can get like Airbnb gift cards, or like Target has gift cards in there. There's literally a whole, and I think you can even get like Visa gift cards and stuff in there. I know you can because I've looked at it. It's just more points, I think, but I'll pop that in the comments down below for when this uploads. But it's super helpful, and it's encouraging to scan your receipts, but also track your spending. So that's super fun. But I think overall 2023, I think I was the most disappointed in myself when it came to budgeting in 2023. I feel like I could have made a lot better choices. I can tell it's been a long day. And that I've had like a lot going on because my vocabulary is shot, I feel like. But I feel like I could have been a lot better. I know I could have been. I think I also need to continue practicing, and I've been having better conversations with my partner because we do live separately and manage our finances separately, which is good and bad sometimes. But more or less, I think that the main thing I learned is that it's okay to say no to spending money or going out. If you have a higher purpose or a goal that you're working towards, it's okay. It's okay to say, no, we're not going to go out and, you know, let's cook dinner together and do that instead. And I also think that there has been value that I found in saving for bigger expenses and saying no to the things. I feel like I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing what 2024 brings, and hopefully it's, better saving skills for sure. So I'm going to put this one off to the side. If you guys have any questions about budgeting, or, you know, you guys are looking to get better at it in terms of tracking and, you know, defining your goals or something like that, you know, feel free to leave me a comment below. And that goes for any planner that I flip through. If you've got questions, just let me know. I'm happy to answer. I am going to take a little sip of my tea. Oh my gosh, that's so great. That is lovely. All right. I feel like the budget planner is not the most inspiring, so I kind of started with that to give people extra time to hop on. This is my Hobonichi Weeks. This was gifted to me by my bestie and her partner at the time. They were nice enough to give this to me so that Taylor and I could have matching ones. And I knew right off what I wanted to do with it, which was I wanted to use it as a health, fitness, and well-being planner. So a place to track my workouts, maybe try meal planning, track my cycle, my intimacy. Basically, I wanted this little guide to be able to sit in my purse really easy, which I have a crossbody bag, so this is perfect size because it's kind of like a smaller purse. But that this could be with me at all times so that if I got a headache, I could kind of log that. If I took supplements, medicine, anything that had to do with my health and well-being needed to go in here so that when I would get to a doctor's appointment, if I wanted to be like, hey, so I've been getting these headaches around this time every day, or these are the supplements I'm taking. Is this right? Do we need to add, take away? If I needed to know intimacy or cycle details, that was going to be at my disposal. If I was in pain or anything from a particular exercise, that I could talk about that. So if you are looking for a good planner to track health and fitness, this is a great one. This is absolutely fantastic. And I would 10 out of 10 recommend. Someone's fire alarm was going off, which is giving me anxiety because we did have a fire in our building last week. Thankfully everyone is fine. I think they're having to do quite a bit of repair work on the apartment, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. Okay, so this is the year at a glance, I guess would be the best way. I have seen this used very creatively. One of my favorites that I saw, I think Lindsay Scribbles and Helen both did it, which is they had a color dot for the steps, and then they had like a key code for like abbreviations for workouts that they did. So lower body, upper body, I think cardio was in there somehow. Like it was just a really creative little color coding system. I really wanted to do body measurements and weight, and that worked out for about a second. I really struggled going into the year with my weight and my headspace, and I feel like in a way, unfortunately, I feel like I'm kind of having like a rough start again when it comes to that. And I don't think it's the whole like I have New Year's goal, rah rah, and then it immediately falls off day one. I know I talk about this a lot, like my boyfriend and I obviously living in separate residences. Well, sometimes that's great, sometimes it's not great. And it means that there has to be compromises to make sure everybody kind of gets a little piece of the pie. And sometimes that means that a workout doesn't happen or a healthy meal doesn't get eaten. And we're really trying to be better and support each other. And we've been doing great at that. I mean, it's 3 days in, but today was really hard. And I also didn't, like I left the house in workout clothes and never made it to the workout. And it wasn't because, you know, it wasn't all because, you know, work was crazy or, you know, all because of one thing or another. It had a lot to do with the fact that I needed to take him somewhere early in the morning, and that put me into work later, which meant catching up, which meant I was working at 6 instead of driving home so that I could work out before work. Like all of these things play a part in that. But I feel like I definitely started off last year in a much worse headspace. Obviously, I did catch my stride at various and sundry times. I really struggled towards the end of the year because of just some injuries that I didn't foresee. I struggled with a couple injuries in the summer as well. I have a love-hate with this. I wish I had a clean version of this. I know that I talked about this in the setup video. I wish I could definitely still track this way without recreating it, or having to buy inserts, because I know there are Etsy shops out there that sell the sticker sheet versions of this where you can just pop them in. But I think I'm just going to track in the weekly spreads so that I can just see it there. Or maybe even, I don't think, I know there's not. It's not like in a Hobonichi cousin where you get like a whole starter page for the month. So maybe kind of creating something like that starting in February just to kind of see how far I've come. I think the struggle with health and fitness goals can be like, what are your actual goals? Like, is your weight actually a normal weight to attain to for your age and frame and body type? And so much more goes into it now other than I just want to lose 10 pounds or, you know, whatever the case may be. For me, a lot of my goals are more about like eating healthier, stress management, self-care. Like that's a lot of where my head and my goals are at. And that's what I'm working on trying to track a little bit more into the new year. As far as the monthlies, I don't really use them. I've tried a couple different things. I tried kind of like a goal list at one point. I did a meal tracker, or not meal tracker, a meal planner one month. The fun thing about leaving these empty is that if I do ultimately find something that I like using these for, I will have a lot that I can use, and all I need to do is buy a kit from Coffee Monster Co. and boom, pop it in, and I'm gonna have a whole fresh new month. I'm not super worried about the unused pages. I've really chatted up the fact that I want to use this planner until literally I can't put anything else in it, that it is like full beyond capacity. I did try to make a workout log, or a workout plan rather, and so you'll notice like SN means Snellville, R means remote, SW means Swanee, or SUW means Swanee. Not S, that's not a W, that's an N. Anytime I'm off, like if I had a Friday off, stuff like that. And then I planned around it. I feel like this is really great, but for me, it didn't work to plan this far in advance. I might be able to do something like this on a weekly basis, but I've often found, like today, had the best of intentions. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to do weights today because I'm going to be off, or I'm going to be in the office the next 2 days, so it would give me time to still have movement during the day, but not, I could be sore because I was going to be at the office, and then by the weekend, I would be able to start my cardio again. So I had a full-on vision. Unfortunately, work got away from me getting home later than I thought. Like I definitely thought I was going to be home by like 10, and I didn't get home until 11 because I went to the wrong place, and that was just a easy miscommunication. But overall, like something that little can definitely upset the week, and again, send my anxiety through the roof. So I think for me, it's more of a just take a breath, do it the next day. I'm not trying to be in a bodybuilding competition. I'm not trying to win the Olympics, I'm just trying to be healthier. So I just need to take a breath, let it go, and at the next possible day that I can work out, which is going to be probably Saturday. Saturday I'll do weights, Sunday I'll do cardio, and we'll just move on with the universe. I was actually really pleasantly surprised when I found out that this has monthly options all the way into the new year. So I did show this off already in the January planner, but I've also got a blank calendar for February, March, which is great, and I'm super psyched for. I don't know that I'll do another meal planner quite like this because I'm already off kilter with it. Actually not that much. I did have a balance break for lunch. I really didn't have leftovers to eat. I have very little, and it's gonna end up going with my salad tomorrow instead of chicken. So it's little things like that, but I really feel like this has helped when I get stumped, or it's like I want to eat healthy but I don't know what to eat. It's been really great because it's like, all right, well, what did you write down that you would eat that was healthy? And I was also really vague about the thing. So like salad with chicken, there's 2 different salads that I pretty much go between. One is a buffalo ranch salad, and then one is like a Fuji apple recreation type of thing. So, but basically one is almost like a weird is it coleslaw is not the word I'm looking for, but it's like cabbages and carrots and stuff like that. So I've got like that version of a salad that can kind of go either Southwest or Asian. And then I've got one that's like spring mix, and it can go like lemon vinaigrette, steakhouse kind of vibe. So I've got like 2 different mixes that I can rotate. And I was talking about this with Jeff this morning. For me, I tend to operate better with meal planning and with sticking to said plan if I've got almost 2 days, 2 completely different days worth of meals that just rotate. So I'm doing all the, I'm talking with my hands a bunch today, I can see. So I'm gonna do, I feel like I need to like pick this out a little bit better and figure out how to explain this. And all the leftover things are throwing me off. So something like a protein bagel. I also have 2 versions of a protein bagel that I like. So it might be a protein bagel, egg bites kind of a thing, or it could be a juice, a smoothie, or an oatmeal. So it's kind of like savory breakfast, sweet breakfast. Then for lunches, it might be a soup or it might be a salad. I do have sandwich in here a couple times just to give myself a break. And then when it comes to dinner, it's usually 2 different style meals. So typically I'm going to have something like egg roll in a bowl and a plate, like pork with sides. That's super vague. So, and the reason that I left it that way was so that I'm not like, oh, I don't want to have that. Like pork with sides might mean I have an oven one that I really like to do with mushrooms, or it could mean that I do it on the stove and do like a, is it pan-sear? Sear is not the right word. I've lost all my vocabulary. Or grilled, like if Jeff grills, let's just use grilled because that's easier. It might mean grilled with sweet potatoes and green beans. It might mean in the oven, and I might do like a mashed potato or a roasted golden potato, because usually there's like a little bit of a sauce. If I make it, like it just kind of creates that. And then I might do a side salad instead of green beans, or I might do broccoli or asparagus or something like that. But I basically leave it open like that so that I can choose the sides that week if I'm not. And you know, same thing with something that's got like pork with sides and salmon in sides. I really want to make sure I give myself some freedom with at least creating those sides. Like if I need something that's got like maybe a little guilty pleasure in it, that I can pop it in there and not feel super bad. That it's not so structured that I can't play with it and be creative. And that's just something that I found that works really good for me when it comes to meal planning. I don't know that I'm going to do anything for February's calendar because I'm going to be traveling. In bulk is going to be on the 1st, so I already know what I'm eating. And then I'm probably going to be concentrated on packing most of that week and that day, if I'm being honest, and then I'll be traveling and then kind of unpacking and trying to get reacclimated. So I really don't want to set myself up for anything. So I don't see myself planning anything for this particular February spread. And then when it comes to March, I'll probably try to dive back in it because I'm not planning on traveling or doing anything really big in March. I do have my birthday in March, but other than that, no big plans. So kind of getting into the weeklies, this is going to be a long one, guys, so settle in for sure and take a sip of whatever. We've got a lot of planners to go through, and with it being a full flip, it's going to be a lot and lots of chatty side tangents. I might even have to heat up my tea after this planner, which is fine. We'll just take a 2-second break. The cat is also asleep on the couch. I'm hoping that lasts. So the fun thing about this planner is it also started in December at the 48th week mark. So I actually got to start charting workouts, which that was the main thing that I wanted. Was I wanted a place where I could chart my workouts because it was originally on this same monthly calendar as my YouTube planning and social media tracking, and that was a big mess. So this actually was really nice to pull it out and separate it. So we have just a couple workouts that I did. This is actually this week right now. So this kind of gives you a little glimpse into how I'm going to be using the space. Obviously, we'll talk more about that when we go through the January flips, but so far it's working out quite well. So yeah, that's really fun. I'm glad that that's working out. I actually got sick the first week of December of last year, not last year, 2022, sorry. And so I was logging like my temperature, symptoms, stuff like that, just so that if I ended up having to go to the doctor, I could kind of give them an idea. Sorry, these pages are a little stuck together. As you can see, my glue ran. I don't know if you can see. I got a little glue happy with that particular tab. I didn't try anything, so I've talked about this in the setup videos, and I have already ordered them. I'm fingers crossed that they're going to get here in time, but I'm not really overly optimistic because it would basically have to ship, I don't know, before the end of the week to really get here, and I'm not super close to my shipment, but I ordered some Hobonichi Weeks date covers. I do have some Hobonichi Weeks kits, so I'm probably just gonna dive into my stash and use one to cover this up, and just write in the dates, and it's gonna be fine. So again, that's going insane here. I'll probably have them by this week for sure, I think. But the point being, I'm just gonna cover it up after, you know, again, any space I see, I'm gonna start covering it up. I did do like a nice little weigh-in down here, kind of like how I was talking about using like the yearly right there. I just did that here. I think that gave me the confidence that I needed, if that makes sense. That I didn't need to buy that. And again, going into the trying not to buy what I could create. And I feel like as planners, we're so creative, and we're adaptive. Like obviously all these products exist now to help us out and to fill the space and, you know, adapt our planners. But at the end of the day, there's very little that can't be done with, you know, some whiteout and some stickers and some markers and pens and a ruler. Bullet journaling is a whole thing. So it's really cool that I kind of was able to notice that I was going to be able to adapt just fine. This is where I started tracking intimacy. And my cycle, really. I feel like I did well in some areas and not in others. There were some months that I tracked really well. And then, I mean, I feel like that goes with anything and everyone. Some months are harder than others, but I definitely think it's come in handy. I did have someone comment on one monthly flip through, and I thought it was rather clever. I can't remember the reason why she wanted to start tracking the intimacy, and because I have different colors, and she asked if there was like a reason for the color, like the different colors. And I said, yes, you know, that I have my own color code system that I'm not going to share at any point in time. The only person who knows the color code system is my partner. And funny enough, I would say in the last couple months, he's actually gotten really into the color coding. And he kind of finds it amusing because I can say, you know, oh, I put in a lot of these colors of parts, and he will kind of like manly giggle, but he knows what they mean. And I think it's been a way for him to connect to my hobby. I feel like there are a lot of women out there that could probably relate that being a planner person doesn't always resonate to our partner, or sometimes it seems silly or it doesn't make sense. And I feel like it's given him like a thing to connect to my planner about. Obviously, cycle tracking is cycle tracking, so I'm not going to get really annoying with that. I've changed my code a couple times. I do know what it is now and where I sit with it, so not super concerned about that. Still charting a bunch of workouts here. My pace was really nice that day. And that's where I started also tracking things like supplements coming into play. This is also the English edition, which is really nice. And I think I'm fingers crossed that by the time I need to order a Hobonichi 5-year again, that they'll have an English version, because I think I'd really like that. I think this was like a really good week, it looks like. Lots of workouts. I really like that. I was doing MadFit at the time. I would also start making notes, like if I had a mental health day. I think last year and this year have been, and I say this year and it's been 3 days, but I really feel like the last year has really been the worst that my mental health has been. I think it started towards the end of 21 and ramped up at full speed by 2022. And I really had to have some hard conversations with myself and kind of seek help and have more raw conversations with my partner, and just kind of let them in. I definitely think it was a hard year. It's the first time in years I actually considered more professional help. It was the first year in a long time I considered, like, do I need to maybe talk to somebody and get on medication? And that's hard for me to say because I haven't done that in a really long time. Not that I think that there's any negative connotation with it. I just didn't have a good experience with medication personally. So it felt really raw of a year, and I feel like it peeled back a lot of layers for me and helped me in a lot of ways. I think today has, and the stress that I've been under today has really shown a light on that. And I know I keep coming back to that quite a bit, but I really think that I'm grateful for it, even though it was really painful. I feel like the people that I sought help with and had conversations with are a lot of the reason that I made it through to the other side. And I'm so grateful for those people, and they know who they are because I thank them on a regular basis. But yeah, I think it was for the best. I can see the other side, and I feel like for me, I'm trying not to slip back into that pattern just because I've had a hard day. And I feel like that's one thing that you don't really hear that much about, is that, you know, when you've been having a good streak or you've kind of wiped the slate clean and everything, but then you have a bad day, it's so easy to like sink back into that mental headspace and sink back to that place. So I'm really working towards when I get off of this lovely live stream with you wonderful people, that I'm going to finish my tea and I'm going to watch an episode of my show, and I'm going to get into bed early and just take a breath, and just tomorrow is a new day, and not to like let it wreck my whole week because I didn't get to work out today. And I don't feel like I felt like I was always behind the 8 ball today. There's going to be days like that, and it's okay. Pausing on that rant, you're gonna see, like, on certain days, if I only took one of my medications for whatever reason at the time, alongside workouts, it looks like I had a headache that day and took some Tylenol. Like I said, I really wanted to try to track as much as humanly possible. I did the best that I could. There, again, some months were better than others, some weeks were better than others. This is a lot. So often I would split my supplements up because, like, apple cider vinegar gummies, you can take multiple times a day. So I was logging when I took things. So in the morning, at noon, and at night, especially when there was like some flexing medicine in there, it was good for me to know. Things like Flonase and Tylenol, if they were taken, I tried to log those as well. Obviously, I would say the thing that I was the most consistent about through the entire year was workouts. So if I didn't have medicine, or I don't know why I wrote pollen, because I wasn't taking bee pollen at that point yet. I had a doctor's appointment near here, and I'm trying to think of when it was. Because it had to have been in here somewhere, because I wrote down all the supplements I was taking, and then the doctor told me to upgrade it, so I just like made a note. Oh, I had a terrible neck injury happening. I had like a crick in my neck and had a massage. Like, oh my God, that was a whole thing. I don't know why I wrote out all of the supplements there. I really don't, because that's quite silly. That's just excessive, I feel like. Another thing that I did was I used this sidebar for anything and everything from trackers to longer workouts that wouldn't fit here. Like Friday, I had written so much about supplements, but I also did a run, and I did some body exercises. 3-mile run, deleted screen, accidentally, no info. So literally every workout that I did for the entire 2023 year is in here. Whether I have a lot of information or a little bit of information remains to be seen, but for literally every workout got logged in here. That much I can tell you with certainty. Don't really have too much to say. This is where I started playing around with trackers. I feel like there are a ton out there that you can pick from, but I just like this style pretty simply. The biggest things that made it onto the trackers over the course of the year were things like AM and PM skincare, eye creams, workout supplements, and meds. I think those are the most repeating things. I did try to use like the sidebars for things like ordering medication and things that had to do with health and fitness. But honestly, that just didn't work out really well for me. I just wouldn't see it but a couple times a week when I was working out. And then again, it's kind of the same thing happened with the trackers. It wasn't something that I was looking at with regularity quite like I was my other planners. I've obviously gotten better at that now over time because I'm kind of getting used to there being a tracker in almost every planner at this point. And I did keep trackers for quite some time. I think this is one of those few spreads that have got cute little emojis and stickers hanging out. Again, I think this was there's some decoration, but for the most part, this planner was strictly tracking. I definitely want to get more decorative now that I've had a whole year. If you guys have hung out on the channel for any length of time, you know I take ages and ages and ages to track in a planner, and I'm not upset about that whatsoever. I take a really long time to track in a planner before I actually start decorating. And anyway, so literally the only thing on here is washi. Felt dizzy, jittery, anxious, awful. Yeah, I was having a rough go of it. That was my fasting doctor's appointment in July. I'm trying to think. If that was the one with that doesn't make any sense of why I needed to go up in meds. There was something going on, like that we were rechecking. I think he had upped my cholesterol medication at the time, and we were checking it, and I'm actually really responsive to that medication, and it was the same one I was on. But I was really receptive to it, but I had to go back and have that checked up on much sooner than I normally would have. Itchy, swelling, discomfort, reaction to bath bomb. So I thought I had a reaction to a bath bomb. I still remain pretty situated in that, but this is the way I chose to track it. And then lo and behold, small spots on my arm start, allergy, move to stomach and thighs too. That's the second line. So I had and that's the one that starts here. So the bath bomb allergy went on over a week. It was awful. Basically the most sensitive areas of my body itched nonstop. That was awful. It was absolutely freaking awful. And then I started to have an allergic reaction to something else. And then that was happening alongside. So I basically itched for like 2 weeks straight, which was awful. I was doing everything I could, like using charcoal soaps or taking Claritin or Benadryl or whatever to just help me sleep. Like by this point, I had been having allergic reactions for a week, and my allergies have actually gotten much worse like over time. I was really happy that I don't think I had any of the allergic reactions like I'd had the year before, where my lips had swollen. I'd even had an incident where my tongue swole up. I kind of knew that this was going to be in the spreads, obviously, because I remembered it happening. But with the air being as dry as it's been the last few days, my body is itching really bad, so I need to put lotion on after my shower today and let my skin calm down. But I've also realized that I tend to get like itchy under stress. And it definitely is showing because I'm very itchy today, and have been since last night when I started to realize like all the impending things coming this week. Let's see. There's little notes like if I had like a bad run, and I'll try to like kind of pick up the flip a little bit because I feel like you guys have kind of gotten the gist of what's being tracked and how I might track something or log it. And I hope that these are kind of inspiring and give you some great ideas. Obviously, I had no workouts, but I had a little tracker that is like meh, like not even filled out. I was traveling here, so nothing got really filled out. I was back. This is the run that I still have not recovered from. I ran after basically all the travel and all the running around, and my hip has really not been the same. I think what's going to have to happen is I'm going to have to go get a massage done and have the kink worked out. I probably should be icing it. I'm having to lay off of running right now and switch to things like stationary bikes, which make me want to sit on frozen peas after because it's awful, or the elliptical, which I mean isn't that far off from the treadmill. It's a little bit lower impact, but I'm still noticing some pain. So there's that. Now we're getting right towards the end of the year. And again, I was trying to maybe see if I could do that whole like task list thing. But like I said, for me, like I'm not going to put a shopping list here, even if it is supplement related, even if it's schedule my doctor's appointment. It's just not in my brain. Like to me, this is a place to track. Like this is not a place to put a to do. And that's just how my brain deals with this planner. And then we get back to the notes section, and I actually keep my Tombow list here, which may sound incredibly contradictory to what I just said about I don't check in here, but because this goes with me in case like I need to log like a mental thing or have it on me, since it's with me at all times, if I find myself in a craft store and I want like a couple of new Tombows, I can pull this out and see the list that I have without worrying about having to come back. And then I put my 2024 goals back here, so I have that as well. And obviously I have some glue posing an issue. I don't know why it's down there so low. Like, why is the glue all the way down here? The darn glue mess happened up there. How very odd. But that is it for the Hobonichi weeks. Same thing that I said before. If you have any crazy questions or not crazy questions, feel free to drop them below. And again, I will totally advocate that if you're thinking about getting a Hobonichi weeks or you're looking for a good health fitness planner, that's a really good one. At least in my opinion. So next, I will let whoever is in here pick while I heat up my tea. Should we go through the Hobonichi A6 Avec first or the Kokuyo first? So pop which one you'd like to see in the comments, and I'm going to heat up my tea really quickly. I'm not going to annoy everybody's eardrums with the awful beeping sound. Oh my God, that's so good. I definitely will look forward to getting into bed and finishing that shortly after this. So no one had an opinion or vote, so I am going to start with the AVEC just because it's the shortest. So this only has July through December. I was missing having like daily pages, and I really was on the fence about going back to Hobonichi a little bit because I liked the daily page system. And I was thinking about how I wanted to do 2024. Did I want to have it separate? Did I have enough to say to put into another page? Because I was basically writing stuff all over Post-its and on spare pieces of paper. And if you guys have ever watched a plan with me, then you'll also know that sometimes I have to use my daily pages for my AVEC as a supplement. Because if I've missed a day of filming, everything is going to be in the AVEC for the most part, like the to-do list or whatever. I would say that my AVEC replaced like a lot of the random pieces of paper and random notebooks around the house and the Post-its, because it gave me one place to put the lists, memory keep, put ideas. It was really clever and I quite liked it. I definitely think that I was kind of sad. I wanted it to have months and week layouts and didn't know until it got here that that didn't exist. I didn't end up using this space for anything. In the past, I've used space like this in the A5 version as a habit tracker, and obviously chose to use a habit tracker this year in my cousin that I got. I don't think I realized it went that far into the 2024 year. Originally I wanted to use the monthly layouts for pre-planning for videos. And I did do that at a couple junctures, but then I also found that it got easier to, write it on a scrap piece of paper and be really messy with it. I think there's something, oh, here's one where I was thinking about some video ideas. But I really didn't use, oh, and another one. I didn't use it as much as I would have thought. And as you can see, I wrote it all in pencil, so it was very easy to adjust. I did not use the monthly cover pages. I've seen all kinds of really cool ideas. I think for the last cousin I had, I did all kinds of weird stuff with those pages. I'd have to go back and flip through them. I don't think I ever was consistent. It's just not something I look back on. I know a lot of people use them as like a highlight page or a goals page and different things like that, or any birthdays or holidays. I've seen all kinds of cool ideas. It's just not a page that I flip back and visit enough to really put any kind of important information. There is a flip through of this for every single month except for December. I haven't posted that video yet, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But I feel like right off the bat, I was really using it for what I wanted to, which was to-do lists, memory keeping, ideas. So I was already starting to think about the Disney trip for the year with Taylor, places I would need to make reservations. This is a little tracker for my Hobonichi 5-year because I'm always behind. Recipes were put in here. Again, just memory keeping, movies that I watched. I actually like how that lettering turned out. Over time, it really became, oh my God, this legitimately was 31 fucking red tails, which are tasks that I have to do with work. And I literally separated them into like carriers or different scan and submit, different calls, different mail situations, things that could get moved to next week, printing, jobs that I needed to do. Why did I need aloe? That's odd. Why did I put aloe on my list? Pasta stuff, Fitbit charger, thermometer. Interesting. I can't remember when we took the beach trip. I'm sure it'll come up in here. Or did I already come back from it at that point? No, I don't think we had gone yet. Another thing that I like that I did was when I separated like a weekend to-do list on one page. This is one of my favorite little stickers. It's so cute, a little bat. Ideas that I was having for my outfits for the October trip. I start really, really early on that. But just kind of going back to what I was saying, I really wanted it to be a place where I could put everything. Like, I wasn't necessarily married to the idea of like, oh, well, it's this day, so what happened on this day? So like you'll see Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was all the things that I needed to do were listed out, and then I had like, that also became a big thing for me using the AVEC, because it was stuff I was doing on pieces of paper where I would do like a massive brain dump, especially going into like a long weekend. So like I would do a massive brain dump of these are all the things, and I'm really massively overdue for one in my apartment. I think that would do wonders for my anxiety. But I would do a big brain dump, write everything down, and then say, okay, so you have so if it was a long weekend and or maybe I was like off Friday, so I'd have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. These are all the things you want to get done. Let's separate them out so where they're best appropriate, and like what can we group together. And that really helped. And then I would write in things, oh yeah, this was a Ponce day, Friday off, and other errands I needed to run. Maybe workouts that I would want to do, etc. So that really was helpful. Meal planning definitely showed up a good bit there in the beginning. I bought a bunch of new crystals on my day off. So I just wrote out like what I bought and what they were for. I loved the doodles. I definitely started feeling more comfortable in doodles this last year and look forward to seeing that change a good bit into the new year. Tarot spreads definitely made it in a good bit. Again, I have loads of, rantings that particular month on each of these things. I was thinking about both of these donuts yesterday to the point that I went on to $5 Donut Instagram to see when they come back. So I absolutely was obsessed with this lemon icebox donut and this Life by Chocolate donut. So just taking a moment, I will put a lemon curd donut in the top donuts of $5 any chance I get. There's like a blueberry lemon curd that's really good in the summer. This lemon curd icebox was like pinnacle. And then the mini Life by Chocolate was amazing. And I'm actually gonna possibly try to skirt out there this month on my Friday off and try a different donut that's filled kind of similarly. But the point being, I feel like they make a lot of amazing donuts, but sometimes they miss the mark or they're too sweet. And this was like one of those donuts where I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what you want a chocolate-filled croissant to be like. And it's in a donut, so it was like extra chocolate croissant-y. So good, because these are huge donuts. And you cannot tell by the super cute doodle, but I definitely was in a doodle mood, and I was really happy with how these turned out. Then I doodled a lot of the groceries that I bought. It said in bulk, but to me that doesn't make any sense at all. Because that's not what would have been happening. In bulk is like so earlier in the year, so I don't know what I really bought these things for, other than just because, I don't know, very strange. But I went to the farmer's market, which I don't get to do that often because it's just not on my way to anywhere. Another little Hobonichi tracker. This is actually a little cutout from the washi. Like I had extra washi over, and I do that a couple times. I am gonna sneeze. Excuse me. But I did that several times. Like if I have even one emoji left, I will fussy cut it out and stick it somewhere, typically in my AVAC. See, there's a workout one, there's the treat one, so I did it a couple times. Self-care Saturday, The Power, I was watching that, it was okay. Lots of affirmation stuff going on around here. I wasn't feeling super great. Another meal plan. Oh my God. So now that I'm looking at this, so I got a new phone because it broke. We literally were I literally had an amazing run. Went out to Jeff's, was feeling so sassy and had such a great time. And then I jumped off the back of the truck. And it was fun because like this kind of looked like my outfit and I was feeling extra good about myself. And I went to jump off the back of the truck and my phone wasn't like secure where it was placed and it fell and went smack onto the gravel. And I picked it up and like, it wasn't just like the screen had like a decent dent in it, but like the screen wouldn't even come up. So it's not even like I could turn it off. It was like a whole thing. It was like completely done. It was like working, but the screen was dead. So I couldn't see anything. So I had to go get a new phone, which was expensive, time consuming. And they talked me into an Apple Watch, which later became more expensive. More to-do lists. Is that too much? 40 and a little washi. So this kind of circles back to, and we haven't even gotten through 1 month. I'm being so chatty. I knew this one was going to be a long one for sure. But it is what it is. So, okay. There was a point, and I say this in here, I realized that with the pre-sale washi, Q3 subscription washi, and birthday sale washi, I have roughly a minimum of 40 rolls of washi inbound before Q4. Yikes, that's crazy. And it was. So the way that all of those sales fell in terms of shipment, because like the pre-order obviously is like way out there. And then my birthday order, I think I had at that point just done the pre-sale for those washis. I can't remember why, but it basically meant that all of those were going to be coming at the same time. So I was just going to get all of a sudden 40 fucking rolls of washi tape at one time. And I was like, okay, we might be a little insane now. Like that was the moment of clarity. And I literally had to go out and buy a new tote and prep for that because I knew that they would be coming at some point. Champions was one of the cutest movies ever. Totally watched that. Dill pickle recipe and a blackberry cheesecake egg roll recipe and like some cute instructions. I really love how this turned out, that it's kind of got a little bit of to-do list, a little bit of swatch, a little bit of recipe. Like, again, this is what I want my daily pages to be like. So it was really fun to be able to practice. And I think that it's adding another level of, I'm so glad I'm actually filming this right now because I've been really nervous. Like I feel like most people are when they get into their new planner for the year. So this is like, oh, I really like this idea. And I feel like that's what I love so much about flip throughs is going back through and being like, oh, I really love this. Like, I love how pretty this looks, like just tilted this way that it like fit the page perfectly. Obviously, I don't know. You guys probably can't read that. It says Lunasaw, which is a Sabbat. And it starts off with me saying, I'm trying not to throw a tantrum when I have to work. I hate when I have to work on a Sabbath. I think Beltane was the biggest temper tantrum of them all. So I was really, I had to evolve over the year. This was a workout plan. And again, talking about making that to-do list and breaking it down over several days so it seems slightly more attainable. You'll see that quite a few times. Planner wrap-ups so that I could film them. Planner plans. So this is when obviously I know Labor Day was literally about a month away, and so I needed to start thinking if I wanted to get anything from Hobonichi, and at that time I didn't think I was going to, truthfully, in all honesty. This was Helen's birthday sale. I I vaguely remember that this isn't right. Like, but I can't remember why. But yeah, I basically put all of my orders, like I highlighted them all here. Jeff and I watched Guardians of the Galaxy. This was funny because I was at Jeff's, and Jeff is also, he knows, he understands the Coffee Monster Co. How could he not? He's seen my planners. He knows. He's seen my washi collection. He knows. It's a whole thing. But I had basically the night before, I think. Yeah, I think the night before and that morning, he, like around noon, he knew like that I was like curating my list, and that at 12 o'clock, I was going to need like not even 5 minutes to like take a breath, use my ninja fingers, get what I needed, and then get back inside. And then we had a whole discussion about the whole first 800 orders. I think I know I talked about it in this video, but it was really, really funny because I don't think again, I don't know if this happens to you guys in the planner community where your spouse or your friends or maybe a family member is like, what the actual it's stickers, guys. Like, what are you doing? I don't think he realized how massive of a business it was. And I don't think that he realized, like, this is going to sound so crass, how much money Helen was making. I don't think it had really sunk in with him. Until I was like, oh my God, I made it in the first 800. And I sat, and he was like, hold on. What? 800? You made it in the first 800? And I was like, yeah, you have to have like super ninja fingers if you're going to do that. And he was like, hold on. What's the qualifying minimum purchase? And he's like, okay. And he was like, okay, if all just those 800, and I forget, he like did the math super quick because he's good like that. And it like blew his mind that in like basically what, not even, I feel like if you have ever shopped at Helen like sale like that you understand it's just like the fastest thing in the whole world. And he was like, oh my God. And that's just like in the first basically 60 seconds, like what gets made. And he was like, hold on, and immediately wanted to turn this into a lucrative business for me because obviously he's seen me draw things like in the TCMC likeness, and he was ready to go. He was ready to buy me a Cricut and get me like a whole business loan. It was really funny. And then I had to talk him down. But I really like how this page turned out, and I've used this method a few times, and I will give you guys a sneak peek if I can find it. It's on my bed. Hold on. I will show you what my absolute new favorite is right now because it's absolutely freaking adorable, and I'm so excited. Is this not like the cutest? So use the chores washi to list out household chores, the work washi for work, and then I don't know what it was called. Whatever. Looks like cute little journal time situation. This was from the Wonder Pens collab. For all of the planner stuff I needed to do that day. Obviously, you can tell I'm behind in my daily pages already. We're off to a great start, guys. But like I said, it's been manic. So I'm really looking forward to some much needed journal catch-up time. But I love doing that, like kind of, this was like AM, PM. I did work in YouTube. I did lots of like practicing with my Tombow Food Nosuke this past year. Need to take a breath and restart 50 days. Oh, 50 days to Orlando. So now we're starting to get there. This was the baby shower for baby Tanner, who is here and happy and healthy. I really like the colors of this. It's like super soft. I like that. Dee Dee held her first family gathering since like post-COVID, so that was wonderful. And I got a teapot. That was just like a day full of love. I was starting to think of ideas for my 33rd birthday, which I will go ahead and breathe into existence. I have decided not to do anything. I'm going to probably sit at home and do a Lord of the Rings marathon and cook some really badass food. That's probably what's going to happen. My birthday happens to fall over Ostara, so I kind of just piggyback on the Sabbath now. I mean, not that the Sabbath's new or anything. It's been happening since before I was ever, even before my ancestors' ancestors were even probably on the planet. But I mean, I guess I had to come from somewhere, but that's a whole different existential crisis conversation. I've decided that I am not going to do this plan, which was probably like my highest contender. I am just going to like calm down, and I'm going to go back to square one, which is planning and saving towards a trip to New Zealand. I really wanted to go to New Zealand for my 33rd, and due to travel restrictions, that was just not exactly on the table at the time that I needed to book it. So then I was trying to find like a band-aid to the situation, stay in a hobbit hole. I'd found one that I really liked, and I'd asked for gift cards for Airbnbs to like put towards it as well. And I waited too long to book it, and the booking is now already taken. And it probably wasn't the best pick after all, for the main reason that had a lot of restrictions. And obviously they're an Airbnb, they can decide what they want to do. That's their home. It's totally fine. It just wasn't going to work for me. And the other part of it was that it is in Virginia, which could have really sketch weather around my birthday. It might be snowing, so I wouldn't even really be able to enjoy it like I wanted to. And I had a lot of concerns, and it wasn't cheap. And I had to let it go. I had to let it go for so many reasons. And I've come to terms with it, and I really, really feel fine. I probably sound sad, but that's for various other reasons about, well, what to do instead phase than it is actually losing this particular trip. I did some journaling, and this is when I start getting fun with the stamping. This is one of my favorite stamp sets to use. It was from Allie Brown. She no longer does that, unfortunately. This is when I decided to watch Good Omens 2, and I redid my sticker binder, and I've actually gotten another one. So I need to do an updated video. Again, lots of playing with my Tombow Food Nasukis and trying to get better about that. This is, I finally settled on a top and look for Mickey's Not So Scary. Very excited to make friendship bracelets and give Tay and 2 event peeps. So this is about the time that I find out that the Swifties had somehow gotten through to the Disney people, and people were making bracelets for Halloween Horror Nights, Disney trips. Basically, if you could make a friendship bracelet, you were making them. I don't want to disclose because I honestly don't know that I need to know how much money I spent purchasing friendship bracelet supplies. All I can tell you is that I came home and returned some supplies as well, or I think right before I left, like the day before I left, I actually returned some supplies as well. That I think I returned like $30, and that should tell you something right there. Started working on 2024 plans. I made a lot of bracelets. I did have a count. I wonder if I have it recorded anywhere. It was a lot. It was a lot. I think I texted it to Jeff, so I might have to look that up and see what the damage was. New stickers were coming in about this time because I know she was new. The no white space. So orders are starting to arrive. Like basically I am in full on Disney prep because I'm basically going to have 2 weeks when I get back from the mountains with my mom to go straight into Disney. Obviously the stamps have gotten here from Coffee Monster Co. from the pre-order. I made a turkey in the middle of the summer because I had one in my freezer and it was taking up a considerable amount of space. Again, that stamp set I love, and I love how this looks. So cute. The pre-order had arrived, so that is from pre-order, and I have a lot being cooked to go with the turkey work. just the cute. I think I use this work washi more than anything. The self-care list that didn't get checked off. So I listed out a bunch of things for self-care. And things I needed to, I think these were all self-care things. I don't think I was allowed to put anything on here that was like super stressful. Yeah. New swatches. I love those. Favorite things. Oh, Jeff made shrimp and grits. I can still taste that bowl of shrimp and grits. He makes the best shrimp and grits. 27 days till Orlando. Finished Andor. Use my timestamp because I was clearly having like an anxiety. There have been some, I love the what the fuck. I like having that date stamp. This is one of my favorite color. This one turned out really bad because of the Tombow Funafuti was lighter than I thought. But I love this color combo. So this like dark, what is it called? It's like called Prussian blue, I think. Is it on one of these? What's it called? Blue? No, it's not blue black. It's different. It's a different, it's like called Prussian blue or something. It's not the blue black, that's darker. But I love that with this washi. I think I used it a couple times in September. This is when I'm starting to get closer to the trip with my mom. And again, using that breaking up thing. This was actually the weekend of pickleball. So I just put all 3 days so that I knew what I needed to get done on each day. This was, I think this was pickleball day proper. Yeah, because then I went on a rant about it being pickleball weekend. So this day I was at the pickleball tournament, and so I didn't have anything to write about really because it was literally like getting ready for pickleball and going to pickleball. So my company, it's weird how it, and around that time, fingers crossed, you guys, I do not have to go this year. Can we all just like please universally cross your fingers for me? So there's a couple of things about the pickleball tournament that I don't really love. The first and foremost thing is that our office, like our company is split into several offices, but my office in particular doesn't have like a lot of clients. Like our office clients aren't really there. It's more for the other office, but because the owner has been retiring, our office has been stepping in a little bit more to like keep up appearances, engagement. I'm not really sure what the word is. So we've been more involved. And the first year was like kind of like a last minute error, like something went wrong with that person's schedule. And so we had to step in and help. And then this year was just crap. And then luckily I got out of the daytime portion of it, but I still had to go to the dinner. Well, it's still an hour away. So that meant leaving at like 3 in the afternoon. And it's not like I really could do too much of anything because I needed to get ready. So it was like hang out at my house, and then I don't get back until like 9-10 o'clock at night, and then I have to go straight to bed. And I would feel differently if we like compensated the time somewhere, but my time wasn't really compensated, and I really like not monetarily, and I wasn't given an extra day. So it basically meant I had one weekend day before we launched right into it. So it's literally like my crankiest weekend of the whole year. And again, God willing, I'm not going to have to do it this year. So I just kind of went on a rant about that, especially with the fact that this particular week, the very next week, I was working. Jeff had a concert and I needed to help shuffle them around. And my mom was coming to my house on the 12th. So I literally had 2 days of work. Then as soon as work was over, I had to get the boys everywhere, then get back to my house because we left on the 13th. So this is talking about my mom and I traveling, and I've done a whole video on this, like separate of even the flip throughs. So feel free to check that out because there's lots of really funny, just like, oh my God. All I can say, and I still hold firm to this, it was a lovely trip. It was very interesting. I have never been so exhausted in my life. And I have done the hardest of the hardcore of the Disney trips. Like, I almost killed Taylor and I, not on purpose, her first year. And I don't think we ever came out of it the same. I've said that in countless videos. But I think it was Savages and Lawless. If that doesn't explain it, it was a really difficult trip. It was just a really difficult trip for so many reasons. And I came back really hungry, really tired, really frustrated. The polar opposite was my mom actually, having a sleepover with me over the Christmas holidays, and that was fine. I just think that we're past the point of traveling together, if at all preventable. That was too much. And then I got to have the office to myself to get back on my feet, and then I started planning Mabon, it looks like, which Mabon is fall equinox. So that would have come up like literally right after I got back. So again, love this color combination, but going back to, I literally was going to like come back and have like 2 weeks to get ready to, so it was like pretty much unpack, wash all your clothes, start to repack, and make sure. It was almost like as I was planning Tennessee, I was also planning Orlando to make sure that things were purchased and that it wasn't going to be like a big flurry when I got back. This is when I finished Interview with a Vampire, the series. So good. It's on AMC Plus. Watch it if you were a fan of the original. It was so good. I really, really liked it. This is 9 Days to Disney. This is one of my favorite pages as well. I love the hand lettering. I love the sectioning. This is when I got my first tomato harvest, got started. The fall washi release happened. To-do list. I love everything about this page. It looks so good. I hate this page. I don't like how my Mabon page turned out. I don't like it. I don't like these little blobby things. I like this hand lettering. I'll say that. And I like this washi. That's about it. This is starting, again, 6 days. So we're starting to get even more granular with like, okay, these are the things that need to get done before I leave. And again, I did really, really honestly a great job with time management going into Orlando, because it's just something I've done for so long. 2024 will mark 10 years of those trips. So having a decade underneath my belt is impressive in my book, and I am so proud to be going on such a big year trip. It's going to be a really short trip this year because I'm hoping to kind of shift some things and change some things this year, but more or less I definitely was better at planning. Just getting into the last couple days of September. And then I left on the 30th. There is I love this page. This is really pretty. Hot Mess Emotional Express. Y'all, I can't even imagine. And we were talking about this quite a bit on the trip. I'm really nervous going into the 10 year because I was really emotional, and I felt like it had a lot to do with the full moon energy. But I was also really, really, really emotional that like I was almost at a decade. Like, and it's also like Taylor and Jeff are now the longest running people to go. They've each been, oh wait. Now I'm really confused. Because Jeff did go twice, but I don't think he went a third time. I might have made that up. So Taylor is the longest running right now at 3 years. And I think that, why did I feel like Jeff had been 3 times with me? He's only been twice. Yeah, because he went in 18 and he went in 19. And then 2020 happened and they canceled it that year. And then she started going with me in 21. So Taylor's the longest running person to go with me. I don't anticipate her missing this year with it being a big year. but I was just super emotional thinking about how many people I've taken over the years. And it's just something that, like, obviously I do consistently and have been in different places of my life while going on this trip. So it was just lovely it just got really emotional. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like when I hit 10. I'm going to cry buckets. But there is a whole video. This is the only monthly page that has any writing on it, because we kept hearing on every other commercial, because we'd have like Freeform in the background in the hotel, and it was like, "'Tis time" from Hocus Pocus on repeat. It was awkward. But this is documenting that trip. Again, I have a separate video just specifically for Halloween Horror Nights, like documentation. So I'm not going to talk about this too much, but these are some of my favorite pages because it's just lots of really fun memories. I love this, like the colors. This is really fun. I love, like, in particular this like section, all the colors matching up so perfectly. The stamping, this was a new stamp set that I got around that time. I don't love the hand lettering here. I got home and Jeff and I were just like so happy to get to see each other before he had to leave for his little getaway for the weekend. So it was just quite nice that we actually got to see each other. Then I kind of launched into more Halloween movies. So watching the new Haunted Mansion. I watched A Haunting in Venice in theaters. This was my first day back. I was being really salty. So I wrote "salty ass bitch" because I really struggled with green monster jealousy when I got back for various reasons, and I was really struggling because I wanted to be able to go on adventures that I couldn't go on, and I was just really like bummed about it and being whiny and bratty. And then Jeff had his birthday. We had a Friday the 13th in October, which is just great. Something really crazy that happened was, so Jeff's birthday, we didn't really celebrate on his birthday proper. We did a joint birthday for him and his brother because they're only like a week apart on their birthdays. And funny enough, we both bought him like concert tickets, and we both bought them on the same day. And we were both like in high stress tickets are gonna sell out situations, and both of the concerts that we purchased tickets for were sold out by the time, like I think sold out within an hour to 2 hours, I think in both cases. And mine was actually 2 days. Like the Tyler Childers is going to be at the venue for 2 days, and both days were sold out in 2 hours. This is documenting the boys' joint birthday, like I just said. I do actually like this page and like how I have it sectioned off. I think this is really cute. I love the hodgepodgeness of this and the kind of using one supplies. I think that's another reason I love daily pages, is you don't always have to make them pretty, and you can really pull your supplies from a bunch of other places. I listed out all the Saw movies. I did, if you guys have seen this, then you know, I normally pick like a longer series for the Halloween season, and I really wanted to do Purge. But Purge was basically like scattered across a bunch of things, and I don't know. And then I was like, cool, I'll do Saw, because I only have to get one subscription service if I do that. The bad thing about this was the new Saw movie is like wedged in between 2 and 4. And I was like, cool, I'm going to go to the theaters and see it. Y'all, I made it through like the first 2, and I was like, And I've watched the Saw series plenty of times. I just haven't seen them in a number of years. And I was like, It took me so long. I couldn't watch them at night. I've never been like this at all with these movies. Couldn't watch them at night. Couldn't watch them by myself at the office. It was terrible. It was awful. It took me forever, and I damn sure wasn't going to the theater to watch it. I don't know why I did a November setup here, because so many of these don't even have setups. I did start watching The Fall of the House of Usher with Jeff, and that was freaking awesome. I did a compare and contrast with the Dunkin' Everything Bites, which is actually what I had for breakfast this morning, because I didn't have these stocked in my house anymore. I love the Epic Everything Bagels. They're so much better for me. And I just kind of did a side-by-side compare contrast. So calorically, it's a little bit more, but the protein is almost double. And I think I talk about this in that video. So there's some trade-offs, like you might get more of one thing. Like there's technically more carbs in this one, but they're also bigger. Like the Dunkin' Bites are like this big, but the bagel, and it's like literally the whole bagel was like this big and like this thick. So it's like you get more food too. And it would last me longer. Like I would eat on it longer and have it at my desk. I was starting to plan the spooky charcuterie board. And I was really amused because I had seen lots of pairings this year or this past year for like pairing it with Halloween candy in particular, which I thought was really clever. And I had a new tray that I bought, which I was really excited about. My downstairs neighbor woke up really early, or actually not really early. They just stayed up really late. This is clearly a list of chores and self-care that I clearly ignored. TCMC struggles and updates. So this is when... okay, so I'm going to back up just a touch. So did I talk about it here? I don't think I talked about it anywhere back here. So I thought that the cutoff for the Q4 was like on the 15th by like noon or something. And apparently I messed up and just didn't have all my facts and figures straight. That's never happened with Coffee Monster Co. But I didn't have my facts straight and I missed the Q4 cutoff, which basically meant I was going to have to cross my fingers and wait for overstocks, which I can now confidently say, because the overstock sale was on December the 30th, that I got in, ninja fingered, and got everything I wanted. I feel very blessed and I'm very lucky. Then on the 21st, Helen released all of the subscription info for the coming year. And in that, she dropped the bomb that if you were not subscribed, not one-time purchase, but subscribed, you were not guaranteed a spot. And that did not go well, I don't think. Not with me and not with any other people. I completely understood where she was coming from. I have emailed her about this to the effect of as well. And I commented on it. I was very honest about how I felt and why I felt the way I felt. But that being said, I am very understanding that as a small business owner, why she did what she had to do. No shade whatsoever. My piece of feedback, so basically in that I had, other than the Q4 that I had missed, I had purchased every single quarterly subscription, but I had purchased them on the one time only because I wanted to control when the money was debited from my account, because I am a control freak. That's just the easiest way to say that. So I'm a control freak, and nothing auto drafts out of my account except for my car insurance. That's literally the only thing. That and my renter's insurance. Those are the only two things, because it's just easier for me to do it that way. And that's just how it has to be set up. I didn't really have an option. So nothing auto drafts, and that's the only thing. And that's been the only thing for as long as I can remember. Everything else I pay manually so that I know I did it. I have a confirmation number, like, again, control freak. I was upset that the reason that I wasn't subscribed wasn't because I didn't want her product. It was because of the control reason. And the way that my paychecks fell, it just made sense for me to be able to be the one in control. I was upset that we were given no warning, because if I had been, I would have 1,000%, I think, bought the Q4 earlier, therefore not missing it. Number two, I feel like I would have gone ahead. I would have also subscribed so that I didn't have to feel any type of way. So between those two things, I was just bummed. Not that I didn't understand why she was doing it. I just felt like we, as very loyal customers, should have been given, hey, if you don't sign up by Q4, we're not guaranteeing your spots for next year. Like, enough warning, because there was no warning that this was going to happen until after. So it just really sucked. I can also now confidently say, because spots opened up on the 1st at noon, that I have subscribed and I have my spot. So everything was fine, but it was like the aggravation and the stress on my end, some of it self-induced. Again, this is not a shade towards Helen. I think she is the most fantastic business owner, and you can watch any number of my videos of unboxings and I will tell you that ad nauseum. Like, I freaking love her and how she runs her business, and I'm so proud of her for setting up boundaries. But I was hella pissed right then and there because I'm very loyal and I buy a lot of product from her. So I just felt like, what the fuck? Like, now I have to have ninja fingers. And in my soul too, I knew that there were people out there who were going to be angry and not understanding and go after her. And that made me upset and sad. And I actually stayed out of the group for quite some time. Like, I didn't even really post anything. Sorry, I'll flip and chat at the same time. Yeah, I was just not in a good headspace and I didn't post a lot after that. And I'm hoping to get better at it going into this year, both on my Instagram and in the group, because I do enjoy being in both. I do want to say this really quick. Jeff and I had a date night and it was really funny because my company used to hold seminars there, and so I'm very familiar with the staff, but also like I kind of come in and get the same thing every once in a while, but I'm usually by myself. And it was really cool because they know Jeff and, you know, they've met Jeff, and we actually used to live closer. So we used to go together more, but it was lovely for them to see him. And he made a comment, they made a comment, "Oh my gosh, you brought Jeff with you." And he was like, "How often do you come here without me?" Like, it was just really funny, but they just know me really well. So it was just cute. Then I had a Disney day. I needed to detox because I literally was just so, scared. Like, that's a horrible word for it, but I was basically just like, I needed to detox from Saw movies. So I took a Disney Halloween break, and then I really wasn't feeling well either. So when I finally wanted food, I actually got the jack-o'-lantern pizza. I love this page and that it's like a Taros page, and I love that it's mostly hand lettering and washi and doodling. I really love how that turned out. This is all conglomerated because I have like the 27th is like all this, and then the 28th is like here. I can't remember exactly, but it's really funky. And then this was me starting to get ready for Samhain, which was going to be on the 31st. So just kind of getting things cooked and ready because I was going to have to be at work the next 2 days. Again, going back to, I really developed by the end of the year that it's okay to prep for your Sabbath and you don't have to do all the cooking that day. And I didn't need to throw a hissy fit. I love all the color combinations here, and I was actually watching a lot of Tim Burton. So this was really cool to use my colorful Burton washi from James Burt Creative because I actually did that course, which was really fun. I have a love-hate with these pages. I love that I've got Taylor stickers on here, and she is my Halloween bestie. She is just my craft bestie, so it's great to have her drawings on here. I love that this is one of my favorite washis. It's a collaboration between Fila Beautiful and Dana Dunn. I just love the grayscale. So lovely. Some things I don't like is that it ran, that like the ink ran, so it was a little weird. I don't love the little florals. It's okay. Again, you know, some pages are great, some pages are not great. You flip the page and keep going. This is a mess because it didn't line up perfectly. I'm curious on camera how it looks though. I really am. Because you guys aren't gonna, I mean, obviously you guys can see it, but it doesn't look like nearly as bad as it does like from not on camera. But that was Dia de los Muertos as well. And so I watched Coco and Book of Life. And I think I wanted to watch La Llorona, but I didn't get to it that day. I feel like I also watched something else. Oh, I watched a documentary that morning about Day of the Dead, which was really cool. Cleaning, lots of to-do lists. full day on the phones. I really like the color combination in the book that I used for that. This is again one of those like to do, like all the things I need to do broken down again. I love that it says I'm leaving the house for Meatballers, 4 p.m.ish and Truck and Tap. This was the first time that Meatballers was finally at the Truck and Tap near my house. So for the first time in years, I did not have to drive like 30 plus minutes, 30, 40 minutes to go get Meatballers. And I have been friends with Kara and her food truck and her storefront for, oh God, since 2018. So 6 years. And I actually chatted with her towards the end of the year, hoping to catch her before the end of the year because there was like a whole mix up. Anyway, it's not the point, but that's really cool that I have that documented because again, that was like one of the first times that I didn't have to drive super far. I was starting my Yellowstone and Yellowstone adjacent. So as soon as October wrapped up and I could like close the Scary Movie book and put it away, I started into Westerns. Like I had backlogged so many things that I wanted to watch in between the end of October when like my Scary Movie season kind of ends and when I kick up with the Christmas movies like 2 seconds after Thanksgiving is over, because I have a really strict rule about that I will not decorate or do Christmas movies until after Thanksgiving's over. I have adjusted the rule that I can buy Christmas related things, obviously like presents and food and stuff, because thanks to the Instagram influencers of the world and stuff like that and TikTok people, that shit goes so fast and I'm not trying to like wait until like there's no reason for that. I can like save it for holiday season, but I need to get it while I see it if I want it. So I started the Yellowstone binge, which was like the new season. And then Taylor and I had a FaceTime. I love that I had a yellow sticker for that. Let's see. Looks like I was like making lists for Christmas and for Coffee Monster Co. For the winter washi that was coming out. We had our long-term caravan at Bare Bones, which was delicious. Planning for Thanksgiving meals. Lots of work things because we're starting to get into the holiday season where we're going to be taking breaks. I started, oh my gosh. So this was like the beginning of the Trader Joe's extravaganza that became and still is. I've calmed down a little bit for sure, but I went through like this really funky phase for like a month, I think, where I literally was at Trader Joe's like every single weekend. And my Trader Joe's is it's like 40 minutes away, but it's like near my mom's house. So I was like trying to plan activities adjacent to that. So, so I was starting to pick up like Christmas items that I had seen the year before and couldn't get my hands on, things for charcuterie boards and just like drinking. This is probably like one of the best days of fall that I had, and Jeff and I had the best cozy day in. So he had a fire in the fireplace all day long. We cooked and we worked on our hobbies simultaneously. So he was outside actually dealing with, this might be like a trigger thing, so I'm just gonna go ahead and warn you, it's hunting related. So if you need to like cover your ears or whatever for a couple minutes, do so. But he was basically doing European mounts. That's the most tasteful way that I can say that. If you don't know what that is, look it up. If you're not into hunting, don't look it up. But he was doing 2 European mounts and one smelled absolutely disgusting. And then I was inside working on planners and just being crafty, and it was freaking phenomenal because we both got to do what we wanted to be doing for the day and also cooking lots of freaking delicious food. The next day, I finished 1923. I have talked about this several times. It wasn't my favorite. It's okay. It wasn't my favorite. Then I had a terror spread. This was a rainbow week. I absolutely hate how the spread looks in my planner, and we'll get there when we get there. But I tried to like match the washies for each of these days. I did have a good chat with my granny. She scared me half to death because she called at like 10 o'clock and normally she's still asleep at that time. And she called like back to back and it was very troubling. I also realized I didn't dot inside that R, which is driving me a little crazy. Should I leave early? Yes, I did leave early that day. I hadn't really been tracking with food and stuff through this time frame, and obviously with the hip injury, I wasn't able to work out as much, so I was actually shocked that my weight was farther down than I expected it to be. Trust me, that's definitely not the case at the moment. This is the first time I'm really using the tea washi tape, and I think the only time I've used it, honestly. And I absolutely love it. It's so pretty. We went to breakfast. Finally ordered a Christmas present. Oh no, that was not Christmas. That was my planner. I finally pulled the trigger on getting my Hobonichi Han because it was a little pricey and I was gonna have to get it, the cover. I wanted to get the pencil board and all kinds of stuff. So that was a little bit pricier. What does the back of this look like? I'm just now thinking about it. I never flipped this over. Look at how freaking gorgeous that is. Oh, that's pretty. So, sorry, I literally have had that in there for like a week and not noticed how pretty it was. But that was when I got that. I started watching The English. That was really good. I enjoyed that show. That was very surprising. Did not care for The Little Pie. I sold myself short on that. I watched The Little Mermaid finally. I was like last to the club on that. I really, really like this. I had a whole quiet self-care. Oh, I was like, what is that? So this day, I'd had a really long day at work, and I had full plans to come home and just sink into my couch and vegetate and spend time with my planners. And this was also the last working day before the Thanksgiving break. So I came home, and I'd gone to our package room to get something and found out that they were setting up for Friendsgiving. And they kind of like tugged my arm a little bit and they were like, come back, even if it's for a little bit. And so I did. And I ended up not getting home until midnight. And then even more hysterically was the fact that Jeff's uncle was in town from New Orleans and he didn't get there until late. And so they didn't start cooking until late. They didn't start frying the oysters for the po' boys until like 3 a.m. And so he got home at little after 5 a.m. His alarms were going off for him to wake up for the day because he was supposed to work the next day. Thankfully, it's a family-owned and operated company, so they talked to the owners and it was fine. I did tell you guys it was going to be a long one and a chatty one, so thank you guys for bearing with me, just side note. But essentially, he got home super late. I had basically had a nap at that point, and then I had to actually wake him up. Like, not wake him up, because he was kind of like, he took a little nap too, basically, and then I was like, hey, because he Ubered from his brother's house to my apartment. I was like, I have to take you to your truck or else you're going to have to wait, like, until I'm back, like, at 1. Like, totally up to you, but I have to go pick up my donuts. And I wasn't exactly planning on telling him I had ordered donuts either. So, yeah, and then that was my runaround day. And then I needed to prep some stuff for Thanksgiving because the next day was Thanksgiving after that. And we went to his brother's because, again, his uncle was in town, so his uncle was staying there and his brother was hosting. So it was an amazing day. The best part of the day was obviously Johnny being there, but the real cool thing was that we walked away with no leftovers because literally so many people were there and so much food was consumed that there were like very minimal leftovers, like enough to basically leave his brother for like, thank you for hosting, here's some food to get you through like another day or so, but like literally it was waxed. It was amazing. And then I really needed to start cleaning and I was super bummed because this is where money started to get really tight for one reason or another. Like things just kept coming and lining up to where it was just like the worst time for me to have to pay something. And and do Christmas at the same. It was just too much, and I was starting to get like really crabby, cranky, and this went on for like literally about 2 weeks because the way that paychecks fell with what I needed to, like, my checklist for buying stuff for the holidays. So there really wasn't like a lot of extra, and so I was really bummed. Another thing that happened was that I got no-showed. I had a pest control appointment, and at that point I had been waiting for like 2 weeks or more to handle the situation, and I was still trying to deal with it. The like short version of the story is that my apartment got a flea issue because of neighbors and their attempt to treat it. So for the first time in my entire cat's life, she had them, and I didn't know what they were. I'd never had that happen, and it was just like a whole hot mess. And then the company, and basically there was like a whole miscommunication issue, and so they no-showed, and I had been prepping all day the day before to get ready for the appointment, and then woke up really early on my like last day of the break, and I was not in a good space at all. And then I got to start setting up my tree, so I tried my best to calm down. And I watched Miracle on 34th Street. Pro tip, ladies and gentlemen, if you would get stuck on what movie to watch as your first movie into the season, watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and then watch Miracle on 34th Street. Literally, that's exactly how it happens in the movie. The movie basically starts off with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So, pro tip there. And then I'm obviously launching headlong into almost like 3 a day for a little while of movies. Obviously, we've got some more tarot spreads, coming up with some Yule ideas. This was the first live stream of the Wine Wednesdays for December. That was the most awful recipe. Do not repeat that. It says yuck, no, that was terrible. Honestly, number one, I don't think it's a great idea. Number two, I didn't care for that wine because I did end up trying that wine separately, and I didn't care for it. I think this is also where I really start getting into the different color inks, because that really continued for a bunch of spreads. This is where I did some meal planning for the things that I was either going to cook for Yule or have for Christmas with my mom or take to the Unger Christmas. So I just kind of had them sectioned out. I also like the little like writing in dots thing. I got that from Leilani Scraps. I really like that. Getting into the last month of this guy, I'm hoping my phone doesn't die too. If it does, then we'll figure it out, but hopefully it won't. I was really having this is where I was saying, I was really kind of quite depressed, because I basically was like going into holiday season, and I don't know, I didn't feel like I could spend the extra money, and I felt really tight, and that was just really uncomfortable because I wanted to like enjoy myself and go do some things, but I couldn't. It just was out of the budget, and that was just really kind of annoying. I had a major meltdown because I needed to get some content filmed and be ready to go tree farm shopping Christmas tree shopping the next day. And I was just really struggling because Jeff and I had like a really great date night and a really great date day. And then I was going to have to wrap it up early. And part of it was just me being greedy, but also like not wanting to I was being greedy because I wanted more time with him and I wanted to keep going, but I really needed to, and I haven't talked about any of this because I haven't done the December flip yet, which I feel like this goes without saying. I'm going to have to film that and get that uploaded like tomorrow because I'm going to be so done talking at the end of this. I'm so sorry you guys are not going to get a Wednesday upload. I'm so sorry. But it was really great because like I said, in one of the other in the other planner flip through, I think it was like when we were talking about the budget planner, but I really was more vulnerable than this year, more honest and more raw, and like let him in to explain. And like, when I had a total breakdown, like I got really quiet coming home from the last errand. And it was because I started to realize like, I have a lot to do. And if I don't do this, I'm not going to have my content out on my schedule, and that's important to me. I've already had like a whole day with him. Like, I need to also fulfill these obligations that are important to me, because this channel is important to me. You guys getting consistent content is important to me. I wouldn't even be doing this live stream right now if I didn't feel like I gave you guys a really crap live stream with the 2024. Like, I would have just filmed all this, and I probably would have separated this into a whole bunch of videos so that I could have like taken a breath and drank tea and water and breathed. But it wouldn't have been a live stream. Like, there's so many different things, but it's like, I am so determined and passionate and focused on giving you guys consistent content and just being there and standing behind that and growing this channel. And I didn't want to fall off on that because I wanted to go be selfish and continue this thing. And I needed to stay home. It logistically didn't make sense to go out there with the way the next day was going to run. So it needed to happen the way it happened, but it was still really hard to do when you're having a good time. So, that was a whole train wreck. And then Monday, it started to get really chaotic because, again, we're inching towards holiday season. And the fact that we had several work events happening this week. So I made peanut butter bourbon balls for Jen, my coworker, and my boss and her husband, as part of their presents. And then we had our Christmas event. Jen came over on the 5th, I think. Was it the 5th or the 4th? The 5th. She came over this day because I remember I made the peanut butter balls that morning because so they'd be fresh for her. And then the next day we had a client service event and we had our work event. And then there was a whole big to-do about a miscommunication with me and AT&T that I spent 2 days fighting and ranting about and making a to-do list and just trying to work with. And then later that week, it became all about bills and budgeting and planning and buying last minute Christmas. So that's kind of what happens by Friday. I think this is one of my favorite spreads through the holiday season, just like the softer colors. Like, it's very winter, but it's also not like your traditional colors. Jeff and I had, wait, what was this? Oh, this was just a me having leftovers day and a cozy day in. Yes, because I had a freaking week. And I think this also might have been Bear Day. I feel like this might have been Bear Weekend now that I'm thinking back on it, because this was when there was a part on the food truck that was broken. So I didn't end up getting to see Kara. And this is why I was trying to see her before the end of the year that I was talking about earlier in the spreads. So lots of leftovers and coziness. I took a break from the holiday binge. This was really bizarre. I took a break from all the holiday movies. And even though my holiday list is really expansive, like I have scary stuff, I have cutesy, Hallmarky type things, I have rom-coms, I have action, everything is in that damn list. But I took a break to watch the Heard versus Deb special on Netflix. I do not know why. I was just like, I guess because I didn't watch the footage and get really involved when it was happening. Like, and so all the bits and pieces that I knew were like random things I'd seen on social media, and I was just really curious about the full spectrum of it. And so I decided to devote 3 hours of my life instead of days and days like other people did to figure out kind of what the hell happened. Another little tarot spread. I do like my little Smooth Shop washi in there and just kind of matching the colors. So I talked about this earlier in this whole get down, was that there were going to be some things that were not completed. And this is where we start to get a little dicey because things are inching towards the holiday break. Things are busy with work. April was out of town, so there was a lot going on. Then I was also trying to do like Christmas prep. So I have no clue on what happened on some of these days, and I might have to go back and investigate. Other ones of these might remain empty. I know that I kind of did whatever was super important this day and then headed out to Jeff's because early that morning we got up at 1 o'clock, 1:30 to watch the Geminoid meteor shower, the Geminids meteor shower. And we saw 28 so I think we saw about 20, 21 before we went to bed. And we were only up for about 30 minutes. Like, it was a lot, and our necks were just hurting, and it was super cold. So that was a very short-lived experience. But literally in that short time frame, we saw 28, and then we got up the next morning. I had to obviously go to work, but I was loading the car at 6 o'clock, and I looked up at one point, and one flew over my head, and it was huge. And then I even saw one when I was driving, because they went on until sunrise. So it was really, really cool, and I was really glad that we stayed up and got up, or not stayed up, but got up early and watched it. Then we're going into lots of to-do lists, both with, oh gosh, 2024 planning, January planning. So you're going to see those lists popping up alongside of like actual work to-do lists, getting ready for my mom to be here over the Christmas break. So now we're really in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season and all the facets that there is. A good movie, if you haven't seen it, is The Man Who Invented Christmas. I would like to recommend that. It was very good. It was on Amazon Prime here in the States. Jeff and I started watching The Monarch: Legacy of Monsters on Apple Plus this day. And I got to do a major sticker reorganization. And Jeff worked on his fish tank. So again, going back to that just like really cozy, lazy, you work on your hobby, I'm going to work on my hobby, and we're going to watch TV and just like rest and restore kind of day. Was fantastic. This was chaos. So this was the week that April was going to be on vacation. So I needed to come into the office and have my office day. The phones were going crazy. Then Jeff stopped by and ended up being able to have lunch with me, which was not really normal, but by the time he came for lunch, I really still had not had breakfast. So I ended up having like my breakfast as a sandwich. So that was really weird. And then we had chili for dinner. So like we were basically together for like the whole day and like off and on increments, which was really weird. And it just felt like a really clunky Monday, and that I didn't get a lot accomplished, which was crappy because this very next day I needed to go to his company's Christmas party, and that was going to keep me out of the loop for a little while. So it was another wake up early, get a lot of work done so that I could get ready and go do this, and then come home and wrap up everything. So that, I hate days like that. And this was also the week of Yule. So I was like trying to prep for the cooking of all of that. So again, there's missing pages and all that good stuff. So this is Wednesday. This is Yule. I haven't done this page yet. This is the 22nd, obviously, but we're officially out for the Christmas break at this point, and I had all these errands to run, and I got started pretty early. I like how this page turned out because it's actually covering a big, like, oops. I just put the wrong day's to-do list there. Then I've got to go back and fill these in if I can. This is Christmas. This is the to-do list for after. This is when I start getting into kind of like January setup mode, because I know that the 27th is when we're doing the January setup live stream. So it's kind of all hands on deck for that. Then moving into that last and final couple days of the year. And like I said, I've still got some ways to go. I don't use these pages here in the back, so we're not going to even bother really flipping through them. I know this was really a chatty one to go through, and I don't intend on being as chatty with this last flip through. I am going to heat up my tea, and I would like everybody to pray that my phone makes it through this last planner so that we don't have to figure out a way to wrap this up. I'm going to heat up my tea, take a sip, and let you guys have a second. And then we will go through our last and final flip through. All right, here we are. For the other person that's in this live stream that's stuck around for forever, thank you so much. This is impressive. I know people have popped in and out, but I think the same person's been in here the whole time too. All right, so whew, we made it. So this is the very, very last planner that we're gonna flip through today. I am gonna do a flip through of the Hobonichi 5-year as well, just to like be fully transparent and show you what got done in actual 2023 for it, what's missing, what still needs to be made up, what my vision is for the year. But I'm actually gonna do that and make it Sunday's upload. There is absolutely no possible way that it was gonna make it into this live stream. I wanted this to be strictly planners, so that's what it's going to be. But this is the last one. This is my Kokuyo A5. It's Kokuyo Techo, Kokuyo Techo A5 Slim. Yes, whole phrasing there. But I thought for sure that I was going to stay in this for another year, and then I saw how absolutely breathtaking the Hobonichi Han was, and I couldn't not do it. And again, with me really quite enjoying the daily page aspect, both as a place to like brain dump and put my idea list, it just felt really natural. It matched the TCMC kits for the year. I couldn't help myself. I had to do it. So I'm really looking forward to a different journey, and I feel comfortable making the switch. So the first thing I'm going to look at is a very unchecked off my dream of 2023. I'm very curious if I did any of these things. I did do the cash envelope and snowball method for like a minute. We hit 1K with YouTube. I did do a patio garden. I did do a Wine Wednesday series. I think I did a couple. I did go to Tennessee with my mom. Jeff and I did go on a beach trip, which was funny because when I wrote in here, there was no way for me to know that we were going to go to the beach the way that we did with his family. California, New Zealand, obviously those didn't happen. Attend apartment events once a month. Nope. Yeah, I think that's it. I really think that's it. Upgrade computer and phone. The phone thing was definitely accidental. I used the money charting system, obviously, all the way up into September, where it really fell off. And I think that had more to do with the lack of tracking more than anything. I'm really quite grateful that this does not exist in the Hobonichi. It's not that I don't want to use this, and it was definitely helpful to some extent, but I just feel like the space was too small and it just didn't suit. And I think I always struggle with the categories because there are things that fall outside of it. So I really don't have like too much to say about this page. And you can actually look up all the translations from the Japanese text on jetpens.com. This is like a sample page, so nothing got put here. Let's take a quick look at the 100 wishes list and see what, if anything, got done. I love doing stuff like that. My gosh. I don't think anything got on here. And their wishes, it's okay. We are talking about going to Providence Canyon, not to camp, but just to hike this month. Set up patio gardens. I did do that. Disney Marathon. I thought it was like a watching marathon. That's ridiculous. 1K with YouTube got accomplished. Trip to Gatlinburg with my mom happened. And again, I don't feel like that was planned at that point either. I think I'd like toss it around in my head, but I didn't really know. I'm not really talking much on these. If you guys have any kind of a recommendation for me, movie, book, music, I don't really think music, but if you guys have a recommendation for me on books or TV shows, please let me know. That being said, I definitely tracked my watching hardcore this year. more than I ever have. I will not be doing that in 2023. It was okay. It wasn't that I disliked the tracking. I just felt like, I feel like I'm better at like chatting through a review than writing like a quick blurb about it. Sorry, my throat and my lips are starting to get really dry. We've been at this for a while, guys. So that, I feel like that goes without saying. I just feel like I'm better about saying, oh, I watched, let me see, Midnight Club. Oh my gosh, if you like Haunting of Hill House, if you like spooky things, if you like mysteries, you will love it. Because it's from the same creators. They also did Fall of the House of Usher. Like, I can kind of like drive you through it much better than I can write like a couple descriptive words, circle a smiley face, and put down the date. I also feel like I would get really behind, and it's just another thing. I was doing really good with the gifts received and gifts given, and then just completely fell off somewhere in the middle of the year. Funny thing about that pie plate that Jeff gifted me is I could not, I thought I had lost mine, and I knew where it was, but I thought that person had lost it by the time I realized that it was missing. And my grandmother gave it to me when I moved out into my first house, and it wasn't anything fancy. It wasn't a fancy pie plate. It was just like a Pyrex. So Jeff bought me a replacement Pyrex. And then we happened to be at the baby shower for the people who I thought I'd left it with, and they were like, oh, hey, you left this. And he's like, oh my God, it's not mine. It's actually Rebecca's. She's going to be thrilled. And so now I have two. So that's funny that I look at that and see that where Jeff gifted that to me. This is a book list that I've got going. Honestly, I don't know when I'm going to be able to pick this back up because I have already decided kind of what a lot of my books are going to be for this year. So there's a book that I bought for Jen at Christmas. I'm really into Hercule Poirot, and we've been switching books back and forth with each other over the last like year. And I bought us each a copy of, I think it's Hercule Poirot Christmas. And so we're going to read that, and then I'm going to dive into The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings so that I can do a reread of that. If you're wondering why there's so many like Hobbit, Lord of the Ring references, first of all, I'm a super nerd. Like, I have Elvish tattooed on my arm. Like, it goes deep. But basically, in the Lord of the Rings, when Bilbo throws his birthday party, it's his 111th birthday party. And so it's this big birthday party. It's one of the, like, reaching that is, like, seriously a pinnacle of age in Hobbit years. And then his nephew, it's his nephew. It's like, why am I confused about this? Frodo is turning 33. They happen to share a birthday. And if you don't notice that their birthdays coincide, and that's discussed like really in the early beginning of the book. So I call people's 33rd birthday their Hobbit birthday. And so it's a big deal to me. And I've celebrated it like and told people happy Hobbit birthday, because it's kind of like the last fun birthday. It would be kind of like it's like a coming of age birthday in Hobbit years, kind of like 21 or 18 would be. So for me, I've really always hoped that I would be able to do something really epic with this birthday, and it's just not panned out that way. And I think, like I said, I've made peace with that. That's not going to go down the way that I hoped. But just in case you're like, why is there so much Lord of the Rings Hobbitness going on? That's why. Now we're going to get into the trackers. Again, I have flip throughs of every single month, so I don't want to get like psychotically in the weeds. If you have a question, please let me know. I really enjoyed my tracker pages, I think in the beginning of the year, because I was doing really well with them. I liked that I was doing the percentages. I liked that I was able to increase something. So a lot of these activities will stick around for, every single tracker, and then some do transition out. I loved how the rainbow tracker turned out. I love that I was able to change the steps to 12,000 because my success with 10 was so great at that point. I like that a lot of these start to shift to more like health related, like no red meat or no sweets, stuff like that. I think that those hung out, like the no sweets and no alcohol hung out for a while actually. I know I said that I wasn't drinking wine tonight, and it's because I'm trying to not that I am goaling for a dry January because I feel like I drank a bunch over the holiday. I'm actually not the biggest drinker in the whole world. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've definitely spent a day or two with a hangover before. I've definitely had my fair share of cocktails at one point or another. It's not something that I necessarily, like, I'll put it this way, and I've said it in countless other videos. I'm a sweets person. That's my weakness. That's my thing. I would 100%, if I was given the choice of dessert or a glass of wine, I'm gonna pick dessert every single time. If I'm getting a choice between a margarita and, you know, a really good, like, there were like these cheesecake zangas at a Mexican restaurant one time that I was obsessed with, but more like, and there's like a Nutella empanada at this other place I go to. Anyways, you get the point. I am a sweets person, and so I would much rather do that. Obviously, when I'm on trips and stuff, I do want to participate and drink, and I do like lots of different cocktails and fun stuff like that, but saying no alcohol for a month is really like, okay, like that's not a hard thing for me to do at all. Like I don't even blink twice. Me going a month with no sweets is traumatizing. I have been band-aiding it for the last 2 days with like trail mixes. I am also one of those people, I don't need to eat half a cake. I literally need to have like a Hershey Kiss or like a quarter cup of an indulgent trail mix. Like I don't need a lot of sugar. I just want little sweet things from time to time. So that's the whole thing. But I think my trackers and I had a good relationship up until September, and then it really got dicey. You can definitely tell that there was like a massive change. Like these are so full. Wow, they're so full. And then all of a sudden it just starts to get really patchy. Again, I think it was a lot of things. I think it was the travel and just not coming back and bouncing back as quickly. I think it was the having issues with my hip and not being able to work out as much. It was, or even just walk to hit my step goals was really painful. I feel like holidays get away from you. It was probably my least, normally Q4 is a lot more successful for me. I feel like I'm a lot more goal oriented. I'm a lot more focused because I'm really excited about a new year starting, but I don't think that really was the case. I love some of the washies that I chose. I think that's going to be one thing that I really miss with the Kokuyo is that I don't have this like bar, because even though I have a fitness, or not a fitness, but a habit tracker, or I've turned it into a habit tracker. Like these pages are my habit trackers, like I was saying earlier from the AVAC. God, that's the prettiest teal. And you can see I'm behind and even tracking. So it happens, but it is what it is. And I think it's a little bit less goals. But I mean, the same ones have always kind of hung out, and that's, you know, waking up at 5, working out, my steps, my water, stuff like that. So I'm hoping to see more progress. And like I said, I'm hoping to shake this funk out a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll have some success. And this is just like a minute day, and I just need to get some good rest and pick myself back up again. But I am going to miss using the washi swatches. I didn't need to use this December because it was in my Kokuyo from last year. Then we get into my monthly spreads. So I actually used the 2021 kits for 2022 because I was really not into the food theme. I like the food theme, but not for monthly layouts. I just liked the themes a little bit better for the 2021, so I just repurchased those. Originally, I was using the monthly spreads for to-do lists over here on the left-hand side, like in different areas, like just kind of goal setting. And then I was using the monthly spreads for YouTube tracking and social media. So you'll see lots of very messy notes and arrows, because what was happening was I was writing in what I wanted to do in pen and then having to move it around if it didn't end up on that day. That changes by the end. And also these ginormous like YouTube icons start to shrink. And it's crazy to see how small they get. I'll like flip. I'm just going to show you, because this is absolutely comical how small they get by the end. Like, look how small they are comparatively. It's so wild. But I really like using the little icons. I think they're cute. And obviously they change from like being colored in to empty and everything in between. It looks like I was pretty spot on with the planning for February. I think another problem that I really noticed with keeping like the to-do list here was that I wasn't looking back at it often enough. And it really wasn't like the best place to put that information. I think that if I want to see any traction with some of these type of goals, I'm going to need to put them in a weekly spread so that I can find a good day to place them on. Because I was only kind of seeing this when I was coloring in a play button, because that was the way I was tracking at the time. It was like, these are all the videos I want to do, and then once it's colored in, I know it's been uploaded. And so I changed that towards the end of the year. Going into March, I did live streams. So I had like a little bubble if I was doing a live stream and what the topic was. And then I had like obviously the play button icon for anything that was an upload. I don't know why those aren't colored in, because I know I would have posted stuff, but I don't know if I maybe moved some stuff around, or if this was also, I think this is also where I started to transition to, I wasn't allowed to color it in until, okay, yeah, this is where it really started. So instead of pre-planning, I put all of my icons in, but I wouldn't write in what was gonna be that day's video until I had filmed it and uploaded it to that day, so that I didn't have to do like all the arrows. This is not like this. This was like the final last straw of like, I don't want spreads to look like that anymore. So yeah, there was that. So I think the way that I was doing it at this point was I wrote it in when it was posted to the channel, but then I wouldn't color it in until I did the description. At that point, I was starting to get that way, and I am the worst at descriptions and doing my chapters. So that's why I'm always like, hey, if you guys have a question, ask it, because I'm gonna get back to you a lot quicker that way. Then going into April, it looks like there was only like one oops, really. And that's fine. Still pretty neat. This is messy. I don't care for this. This was definitely messy. And then May is also really kind of quirky. A lot of, very much like when I go on a live stream schedule. And I think that's maybe, as much as like I'm loving this very long ranty flip through video and live stream, I definitely feel like it's wild, because it's not just here's 4 extra videos this month. It's being prepared to be here for a very long time with no breaks, no whatever, like you're live. So it's not like, oh, I'm ranting too long about this, let me restart it or whatever. Like you're in it. And so it's 4 extra videos a month, and it is a lot. So because usually I'll do them for a whole month is my point. And then this one was 5 because I felt like 1 was crap. But in May, I do May the 4th and Revenge of the 6th post. So that's 2 extra videos, and it's Project Life, which is more time consuming. So those are filtered in here as well, which made May seem really chaotic. And I think this was when I was trying to plan posts, and that wasn't going well. I think I learned really quickly at that point, and then this just added to the drama. because this is when I decided to do a live stream month. Dear God, help me. What a mess. What a mess. And I had to cancel this because this is when I had my neck injury. Like, all the things, like, this is why I love planning and memory keeping, because I can look at something and very quickly, like, teleport right back to that place in time. So this month was wild. As you can see, I learned my lesson with posting at this point. And this was also Disney Bound. This was when Disney Bounding with Pride was going on. So there were check marks, and this was days I actually needed to post. So I do understand why I would have set that up in advance. And I ended up not doing one of them. Like I said, this was a neck injury, so I had to move it because if memory serves, I was also not just sore with the neck injury, I had to work late, so it was like a really chaotic day. Maybe I didn't do, maybe it came along a lot later than I thought about writing it in as it happened, because I can just see how many mistakes and like errors are being made. And it was like, that was something that really started to frustrate me. So I am kind of wondering when that switch happened, when I decided to really, this could have been it, because this looks ultra clean. And I feel like this is, yeah, I feel like it was August that this really started to happen again, where it was like, until that video was posted, I couldn't write it down. And I was doing like the plans on like junk paper. And again, this goes back to why I did end up getting an AVEC, was to kind of, in my brain, have a sloppy place to play and plan. But yeah, I can definitely tell that like we're cleaning it up again, because this is just utter chaos. Oh Lord. And again, there are flip throughs of all of these months. So if you're looking for specific pin details, you can hop over to that video and it's going to give you like exact tombos that got used or anything like that, if you're interested in colors. September prep and October prep were definitely really fucking stressful, because I was going to be traveling. I wanted to make sure I didn't forget an upload, and if memory serves, everything came out on time. And I think that's the first year that that's ever happened, to where I've traveled and content has come out while I've been gone and stayed on schedule. Like, I could have probably posted everything and never told anybody I was gone, and that I was really proud of, because that takes a lot of pre-planning. And I don't know that I've really, I mean, obviously I talk about my job, but like I legitimately have like a 9 to 5. I am not paid as a content creator. Like, this is all done without payment and alongside of my other job and living separate from my partner. And I haven't really like said that all in a long time, I feel like. So just to set the tone how major of a deal that was. This is where I officially made the switch, though, to stop using this sidebar for to-do lists, and it's my cleaning list now. So it went from, it used to be like back here in the back in my ideas booklet, which we'll flip through pretty quickly if we have time at the very end, like if we're not, like, if the screen's not dying and we're all okay. But more or less, like, this way, when I was updating the video post, I would see this, or I'd be able to go here and it was all in the same book. Like, I wasn't having to like flip through and find my space in, sorry, now I've lost my space here. Wow, what a mess. Sorry about that. But yeah, where I wasn't having to flip through 2 different books to find a list that I would kind of need on like a daily basis. And I feel like it helped. I feel like it doesn't look like it helped, but it definitely did. Because by November, I was like a little bit more used to its placement. This is when we start doing this particular series that we've been working on. And also, I feel like it was really funny that I was smart enough to realize, again, this is just part of being, you know, part of pre-planning and being more aware with a content schedule, that I wasn't going to be able to make this, and rather than create like a whole mess, I just said, hey, we're going to start on the 29th, take a break, and then I'll be back at it. Obviously, we went an extra week because the 2024 setup was complete crap. Again, I'm going to do a December flip through. I don't know how much good it's going to do if you guys are watching this, but I'm sure people will watch like the December flip through as well, just to have like just that video. But I am going to be doing a flip through of all the December planners separately. I'm just going to do it tomorrow. I know I've already said that at one point through the live stream, but just in case anybody hopped on. Obviously, I didn't need any of the 2024 layouts because I had my new planner. This week was in my old planner. Oh, no, it wasn't. This is the Biz edition, and December is in here, like that last month of December, but I didn't need that because I was in the old Kokuyo. I think I did go back and forth about did I want to hop into the new one, because I could have. And I definitely started my first Kokuyo as soon as I could because I was coming from Passion Planner and I really hadn't been using it, and I just missed having any kind of a planner involvement at that point in time. So I was super excited just to be back in a planner that I just jumped to the first shot. So in the first Kokuyo that I did in 2022, it started at the end of 2021, and I definitely hopped right on in it and loved every minute of it, but I didn't need to be in both and create additional chaos for myself. So I just started on the first week of January, which was January 2nd. Again, there are video flip throughs for each and every month. I will say it until I am blue in the face. But basically started off with like the fruits and veggies washi and just a bright week. I love seeing how much smaller my handwriting gets, how just cleaner and cleaner and neater it's going to get through the year. And I almost wish that my first Kokuyo wasn't up in the closet, because I would show you guys how absolutely chaotic, messy, and crazy that one looks. But this is going to be really fun to flip through. So then I use the Icy Wonderland kit, like literally just this washi tape. I feel like it's so bad. I'm the worst with kits. I think what also made it so tricky was that because this is an A5 Slim, everything doesn't fit like perfectly flush. So that's another reason I'm really excited to get to work in the Hobonichi Han, because my kits are gonna fit now for the first time. All my Hobonichi kits will fit. This is also one of my favorite washi, is this like really pretty blue sweater print. And this was obviously before the Icy Wonderland washis that came out this year, which would have matched perfectly. This is the week of Lunar New Year, Martin Luther King Day. We went to the Harry Potter experience and Pont City. My skirt zipper busted, and that was a whole ordeal. That was a day. This is probably one of my favorite rainbow weeks that I've ever done, and I am so long overdue for a rainbow week. It's disgusting. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to do one in February. I think is my plan. I just haven't picked my colors yet, but I definitely think I'm gonna try one in February. But I love how this turned out, especially getting to finally use the camel. I think from the very beginning of seeing the biome collections, I just kept thinking of how absolutely cute the desert biome stuff would be, and how badly, like, I knew that it would be pink or red, orange, and then yellow, so that yellow would always kind of fall on a Wednesday. And I was like, oh my God, I want to use the desert biome on a Wednesday so I can have hump day. And so that was like one of the first things I wanted to do when I got that washi. Getting into February, so we're gonna start seeing all those like soft florals. What is that 3 for, by the way? Oh, that was my 3-year anniversary. Sorry, I was like, what is that? Princess Week. Helen actually really liked this washi, and I really like this color. Jeff actually had COVID over Valentine's. I had kind of forgotten that until I was talking to somebody the other day who had it over the holidays. But Jeff caught COVID, and I actually had to quarantine with him because I had been exposed, even though I kept coming up negative, and I never ended up getting COVID. And that was the most that we were ever around each other as well for a COVID, because normally it was like, oh, I think I'm getting it, and then we wouldn't be around each other, and so we would all like have like staggered release. One thing that I really wanted to have in February was a self-care week theme, because I think that's just as important as loving others, is filling your cup back up. And another thing that I really love about this spread is I love any spreads I do the geo tags on. It makes me super, super happy. Now that I'm like looking back at this too, some things that I remember were, I believe this was the night that Zach and I know it is because it says it, that Zach and Lindsay came over for dinner, but it was really funny because we did this charcuterie board, and he fell in love with the combo of brie cheese with the gingerbread Ghirardelli squares. And so I'm hoping that I get to see him soon, because I actually bought some at the holidays to give him with a little pack of brie, which was really funny. And Zach is just not the person that you would think would be all about a charcuterie board, let alone like pairings. And he was like, that pairs well nicely together. Like he was very like, he felt like he needed a monocle. Funny. And it was just so not him. It was just funny. Getting into March, we're definitely playing with the floral themes, and spring is coming. Again, lovely little geotag day. We went to Fort Yargo with some friends of his, and I actually found out that was when I found out that she was pregnant. And that was really awesome. I was so excited because I didn't know. And I was like the last person in the group to find out because they were kind of keeping it hush-hush at the time. And another thing that started happening in March was I decided to do the Disney Bound Challenge, which took a lot of prep. So you're going to see lots of like Disney stickers scattered throughout, or tasks related to posting. So there's that. And then I've got this Alice in Wonderland theme going on here. Let's see. Then we get into my mom's birthday as well. This was I think that was the doctor's appointment that I really like came back from, and I was pretty happy about. I think that was the doctor's appointment. I went to so my doctor, North Atlanta Primary, there's multiple locations, and I needed a new location. I needed a new doctor, and thankfully I can just I'm still a patient of North Atlanta Primary. I can go to any location, but I needed a new doctor. I just really wasn't happy where I was, and it was like far out, and that ended up going well, and I'm pretty sure that was that appointment where I finally found my new doctor and was in a much better place, so that was really nice. This was the neck. Now I'm really confused about the other, where I said I thought I moved it. I remember it happening in March, but this is where I had the massage, and this is where the neck injury was, and this is where I had to cancel the live stream on the 15th, not the 21st. Now I'm looking at everything. Not that this matters to anybody but me, but I'm just very curious. March. Oh, I just didn't color it in. That's really odd. I don't know. Because that definitely didn't happen in June. I don't know why that one got moved. Maybe we'll figure out when we get there. But I remember being at the office late and having to cancel it, and I was super bummed. And then I knew what I wanted for dinner that would make me feel better, and I got there, and to my surprise, Jeff was actually there too, because he knew I'd had a rough day. He knew I didn't want to cancel the live stream, and that I was just like, I was in pain, I was bummed, I was all the things, and then lo and behold, he was at the restaurant waiting for me, which I thought was really, really sweet and a great surprise. Then we had a private event that week for work, and then I actually had that Friday off, and Jeff went with me to Pont City Market, which was really fun because it was kind of like a makeup session too, since I really didn't get to show them around when we went for MLK Day. So it was really cool. I also had a really big run that day, it looks like, that I did 7 miles, which is kind of epic. I was definitely trying to marathon train earlier in the year, and I was doing really, really well. I think the farthest I ever got was like 9 miles, I think was the longest that I ever got to run. And I just never really picked it up after that because I started to have some knee issues. Obviously, I really want to, like, I would love to run a marathon, but my body and I are really having a difference of opinion. And so I need to just kind of make sure that I'm talking with physicians and practicing better self-care and pre and post workout to continue towards that goal. And that obviously takes time to plan and do. So I'm not sure if that's something I'm going to continue through this year. I think right now my biggest objective is to just get my hips situated again, and kind of take it easy getting back to running. This next week was my birthday and Ostara, so I turned 32. I hate that. I absolutely hate that this ran because I highlighted after. And normally this pen has a reputation for drying pretty well. I typically use a Uniball Signo DX 0.38 in the black. I have the gray in this pencil holder right now, but I just swiped over it too soon. This is a cute little rainbow week. I quite like this. I am still struggling because I would love to do a rainbow week where I actually have like perfectly matching colors. And even though my colored ink range is growing, I still don't have a really good yellow to use in the yellow section. So that's kind of a bummer. But I really like how this turned out. There is no way for me to know, looking back, like I would be able to best guess it probably of what I have Plan With Me's filmed on and what I don't, but I definitely can't remember an entire year's worth. So like I said, if you guys have a question, let me know. In April, I decided to do an artist series. What's funny about this is before the washies came out. So I was just using the little cards and washi that I had in my stash. So this was the week for Hokusai. This was the week for Da Vinci. And if you look, whatever I was watching, okay, maybe not Waco. That's a little bit different. But I was watching in several sections. Like I was trying to do like the Eye of Hokusai, Kurara. I'm probably butchering that. The Life of Hokusai's Daughter. Like I definitely tried to watch like some kind of educational show about that, or things like I did Leonardo the Universal Man. I did The Lost Symbol, which was actually a TV show and it was actually pretty good. I watched Ever After. I watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like I watched things that were adjacent to the person that I was theming the week for. This was Monet. I don't think I did anything for Monet. Oh, I did The Thomas Crown Affair. I loved that movie. There are not a lot of Monet movies. There is a good amount of Van Gogh stuff that was kind of fun, but I watched At Eternity's Gate, which was really good. Another fun thing about, let's see, so I don't forget fun things that happened. I've officially broken that record. It was a 1/4-2 setup. So we've broken that. The outfit was really good. We had Easter lunch at his aunt's, and I love that super cute little emoji. Let's see. Trying to see if anything else is really standing out. The Silence was actually a really good movie. I went to the Moulin Rouge musical. Oh, that was what I was jamming out to because I went to the musical the next day. So good. And I got home at 12:30 in the morning. It was so good. And then the next week, Jeff and I actually did a little weekend away, which was super fun. We went and did a train ride, which I love trains so much. So we went and we did a train ride in Tennessee, and we stayed at the cutest Airbnb that had basset hounds and bees, and it was just, our hosts were so great. They made us breakfast. I say they, but she, the wife, made us breakfast, like, and it was so good. It was made with like farm fresh eggs and like very, very homemade, like homemade pastry. It was freaking phenomenal. And then we went to Rock City the next day, which was kind of, it was fun, but the waterfall was turned off, which really sucked because that's kind of like the big pinnacle, but it was really fun anyways. And then I think I talked about this earlier where I said I don't know, this might not have been in this video. I've been filming quite a bit lately, but I was talking about in a recent video or filming or something how I always have ninja fingers. Oh, I think it's in my plan with me that I went on a tangent in. But I have ninja fingers. I'm very good with them. I haven't had them fail often. Knock on wood, because I really hope that I keep that. But because it's very nice. But an overstock sale was going to happen at 3 o'clock that day, and it did happen. And it was actually the overstocks from the Advent. And there were a couple things that I wanted like extra washies from that I was really obsessed with. The main ones being the AM PM washies because I freaking loved them. And they were so cute. I think I ended up getting a fruits and veggies from that too. I think I did because at that point I was still very solidified that I needed 3 washies if I was obsessed with it. And then, so I was literally on top of this like mountain with a margarita in my hand doing overstock sales, which sounds ridiculous, but Jeff thought it was hilarious. He also thinks my ninja fingers are cool, I think. We did a wine tasting and then went to 441 South on the way home and then had just a massive lazy day, really, the next day. This is the week of, and I was so proud of myself because I've been hoarding this. I only have a small sample of the Coffee Monster Co. Star Wars, and I hope that she does like a revamp of it at some point. Like, it'd be so cute to have like a little Ahsoka in there, maybe. Like, now that she's a big deal, I don't know. I'd like to see that happen. So fingers crossed that would happen. But I went ahead and used up an entire big swatch, and I really love how this turned out. Again, I look forward, like, I'm just gonna flip ahead and show you like how much smaller my handwriting is gonna get. Like, it just got so small by the end of it and so much more refined. Not that I still didn't make mistakes, because there's plenty, but it does crack me up to like look back at this and I mean, look at that. Like, it's so tiny. I love it. I love seeing, and that's why I like when people are like, oh, your handwriting looks so great or whatever. Trust me, it takes lots of time and lots of practice, and slowly but surely you get there. So I'll be interested to see what happens with my handwriting in the AVEC now that I have a little bit more space too. So that's definitely a thing. Another thing that stands out to me on this week is that it was Beltane, and I know that was like the biggest fit that I threw of all of them because I obviously had to work. I think I was also really upset because I did just yawn. It's getting really late, and I am definitely a wind down at like 8 p.m. kind of person. So I think we're going to pick this up a little bit too. But I threw the biggest Sabbath tantrum, but I had a really good day at the same time. And I did what I could in between the tantruming. It might have, honestly, I don't think it was Beltane. It might have been Letha. Was it Letha? No, I'm pretty sure it was Beltane. that I threw the fit. I'm pretty sure it was. And then I did a bath and I made a stroopwafel s'more, which I was really excited about and freaking love. They're obsessively large, but no regrets there. I think that's all that's like really standing out now. Again, I don't know which, I think I did a plan with me for this week. I don't think I did one for this week because I actually themed the entire month of May for Star Wars. And I think I was doing live streams too, I feel like, for some reason. Mother's Day brunch was in here. Trying to see if anything else runs out. Definitely starting to get hot. This was a crazy night. So obviously we're seeing another Star Wars themed, and I think I've got 2 more weeks of Star Wars themed. We went to Sam's on Main, which is like a local restaurant, and that's the only time we've been. But literally, you guys, it stormed so crazy, like hail storms. Like it went from like, okay, it looks like the bottom's gonna fall out, and so like Jeff was like right behind me, but like I got to the restaurant first and I ended up having to help people that were on the patio like scoop everything up and get inside because the bottom was going to drop out, and it looked like that, but we didn't think it was going to drop out like that, but it was like giant hail pieces. It got wild. Another thing about this week was Addie's 6th birthday party. And I had a lot of anxiety going into that and a lot of other random things throughout the year. For personal reasons that I'm not going to talk about on camera, but I was really stressing out about like several get-togethers this past year. Like I said, I had like a lot of self-doubt. I had a lot of like anxiety, and I just had a lot of bad mental headspace situations going on starting like at the end of 2022 going into 2023, and they hung around and I had to do some massive work on them. I'm definitely in a better place. I can without hesitation say I'm in a much better place. Today is just not my day, and I'll admit to that, but like, whoa, I'm like looking at that, I know exactly what I was like stressed and thinking about going into it that day. The next week, again, Star Wars week, I went to a women only event that was for a new local business, which was kind of fun to do. Meltdown times 1,000. Definitely know where I was mentally through this whole thing right here. Yep. Had a major meltdown. Had the women event. I'm not going to get into the weeds about the meltdown. It was just really bad. It was really, really bad. And I also knew we were getting ready to leave for the beach. Jeff and I were. So it was like the worst time to like have a meltdown. But I had it nonetheless. And then we literally left for the beach the very next week. And that was absolutely wonderful. It definitely had the potential to be really a mess with the very eclectic group of family members and a lot of different personalities, but I think it went really, really well. Overall, I think it's one of the best trips that we've all had. I did end up getting a little bit sick the second day, and it says, do I have a seafood allergy? But funny enough, like, and this happened like anytime I've had like an issue with this, it's like once I get whatever has made me sick out of my body, I'm fine. Like, then I actually want food and I'm starving because now I've gotten everything out of me. And we actually had a fire on the beach and with s'mores. And another thing that was really fun was that we were going to get to have a full moon while we were there. And obviously, like, I definitely try to do tarot with the moon cycles. So it was really fun for me to do like a full moon tarot spread at the beach. I literally love s'mores. It's one of my favorite things in the universe. So the fact that I got to make a s'mores on the beach with a beach fire and then go put my toes in the water under a full moon while I ate it, I'm sorry, pinnacle, freaking amazing. Definitely one of the highlights of my 2023. Jeff and I started watching a series called The Days, which was about the tsunami that happened in Japan that affected the nuclear power plant. So that was really stressful. And it's like all subtitles, so you have to pay attention. But it was really good. This was the last day of the beach, and then we drove. So I actually didn't chart the weather on any driving days because we drove from Georgia to Florida. So the weather changed quite a bit. This kind of goes back to like, I still haven't found the colors that match up perfectly. Like I feel like some of these colors match perfectly, but I can't seem to find like a yellow or orange that really like stands out and is also the right color. Like I feel like if I found a yellow to match this, it's going to be invisible. So I'm going to have to work on that. Speaking of work, I love this little bar, and I definitely try this again later on. For June, because it's Pride Month, I did do rainbow spreads quite a bit. This is one of my favorites that I did. Again, I really like this like burnt mustard color for yellow. And again, this is where we really start to, I think this is where the transition happened, like between really big writing to small. And this is really where I start to get into colored inks. But I quite like how these turned out. This is when I was using my Uniball ones quite a bit. This is the work bars. I kind of stole this from Helen. These are much sloppier. But yeah, I start to refine them after a little while. I did do, I think this was the first one I did. Did I? I think this is the first one that I draw. I really liked the idea of drawing my own washi for the week of a Sabbath, and it's something that is very time consuming, but I did enjoy very much the doodling aspect and would like to do again. I don't know if that's something I can do this year with just so much on my plate, but I really, really like how this went. And I also love that Helen offered Sabbath stickers this year. In the holidays, and I don't think that that's the last time we're gonna see that. Helen is very into being very inclusive, so I definitely think that we'll see more of that. But I love this like pastel onesie week. I think it's super cute. I love this, officially accepted into the YouTube partnership program. So you actually have to like hit certain metrics before you can even be invited to apply. Then you have to apply, you have to get in, and then from that point you can work towards your monetization process. So just taking a moment again to say, I am not being paid by YouTube. We still have to hit like a certain amount of it has to be 4,000 watch hours inside of a 365-day period. So it doesn't reset at the beginning of the year. It's just a consecutive 365. So it's a consecutive 365 of being at 4,000 watch hours, and it's also being above 1,000. So we're still inching that way. And I know I said this at the beginning of the video, but again, if you guys want to monetarily contribute, there's super chat and super thanks. And then there's also affiliate links for Coffee Monster Co. and Ritual Planner. If you're interested in those, I'm happy to get them over to you. I just really appreciate the support, and the watching hours. That gets us closer to our goals as well. So thank you guys so much, because I wouldn't have even made it this far without you guys. So I'm beyond grateful. But just as like a little note, since we're talking about that, and that's in the planner. Again, I really am never quite sure with what I've done planned with Mise on, so I don't want to be like really overly redundant, and I'll try to call out things as I go. I don't know why I had a Shein try on and temper tantrum. I also don't know why I was doing a Halloween Town marathon that day. That's really odd. I must have been, I think I was watching the Halloween Town marathon because I was trying to, what in the world? Because June, June is Pride Month, so why was I doing that? I must have been filming something, because usually I only do marathons like that whenever I'm filming something or trying to do something that I need something on in the background. This was super cute. This was when I took the biome washi and cut it up so that it was all one biome instead of just the repeating biomes. And I did this for each biome actually before the end of the year, which is fun. I'm literally already planning Halloween Horror Nights and Mickey's Not So Scary because my Winifred cloak has arrived at this point. And I think also maybe the Panic and Temper Tantrum try-on was stuff for the trip as well. Like I was that far ahead on planning, which doesn't surprise me. At all, it really doesn't. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen this year for the way that I'm planning and what I'm planning for travel. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. I'm not really going to say any more than that, but it's going to be interesting. Also, it looks like I was back on my Star Wars binge. So I started it in May. Okay, I'm not going to flip back that far, but I started on like the beginning of May and I started re-watching all of the Star Wars, but this time I wanted to watch everything in order and include the TV shows. So by July, I was at the Bad Batch and finishing that and walking into Solo, Obi-Wan. Why did I do a Mummy marathon? I don't know. That's interesting. It's an interesting choice. I watched The Power. I can definitely tell I'm starting to get super tired, guys. Sorry. This has been a doozy of a video. So if I forget something or you have a question, definitely pop it in the comments. Another thing that I just want to talk about very quickly, I don't know 100% when it started. So maybe April is when I started using these sections for tarot and for crystals. So that definitely was a thing that I tracked a good bit into 2023 and started working on. This is when I got my new phone because I broke it here. Busted phone. And then it was just a really rough couple days, like getting the new phone, getting used to it, catching up with work. Work was really crazy. Any time that my schedule throws me off my work schedule, it can get really chaotic because all that work has to go somewhere, obviously, but a lot of my work has to get done during work hours. Like it's not always an easy thing for me to move. Like it might be phone call oriented. And I know I've said this before, and like Plan With Me is like, I can have my entire day mapped out and be like, oh, I need to do these 10 things. But then the phone rings nonstop for 2 hours and it's one problem after the other. And now all of those 10 things need to go somewhere else. So that happens quite frequently, unfortunately. So anytime you see like just emojis that look just like, why the fuck? That's why. So then kind of moving on, I'm trying to see the Rise app. So I was getting used to my phone, and so alarms were going off at weird times. I didn't know how everything was set up. It was quite ridiculous. My Q2 reship had finally arrived at this point. So Q2 got lost in the mail. Well, part of it did. And I finally got it, I guess, on the 29th of July, which at that point, I think Q3 stuff had started shipping maybe. No, I don't think it had shipped yet. But that was kind of wild. Having that happen. I really have not had a package. At that point, I'd not had a package issue happen. So I went over a year with Coffee Monster Co. without any package issues whatsoever. And then 2023, I only had 2, which was really nice. which sounds like more than you want, but still, that's pretty awesome. This is the week of Lunasaw. And again, I drew a super cute washi. I think this might have been the last one I did, just because they're really time consuming. I did use watercolor, and this was where I figured out, don't watercolor on your Kokuyo paper. Harry Potter's birthday was right here. And I actually did a Harry Potter cake, which is really fun. Free pizza pickup. Was that also the day that I didn't feel good? I think so. I don't think I think this was the day that I got, no, nope, that's not right. I just had a free pizza. Not related. Totally mixing up two things. Moving on. Oh, there were crazy storms at work that day. I do remember that. The bottom like fell out, and I was also like dealing with a person yelling on the phone, not at me, but just in general, and that was really chaotic. The next week, it looks like I was on a Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter binge due to the birthday. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was like one of the saddest movies I've ever watched. Oh my God. Not ever. That was dramatic. Definitely one of the saddest Marvel movies. I was like, why is this so sad? This poor raccoon. We had a lot going on this week because we had a baby shower, and then the very next day we had lunch at his grandmother's. So it was basically a whole weekend of not getting a whole lot done, which is always really stressful for me because I don't have Mondays remote, but Jeff does, so that just gets really chaotic. This was about a month before Mom and I are set to travel, so I was just calling her to like get all the things together. This goes back to, I wanted a biome themed week, so again I cut down that biome washi so that it would be one. This is the desert biome. I'm very proud. I used some several kit materials. I also like how these work bars turned out. They're a lot cleaner for sure. I'm probably forgetting so much stuff, you guys. It's ridiculous. Oh, I got really sick that day. And then I wanted meatballers. Again, another one of the, oh, I remember this because we went to dinner, and again, I don't really get sick like that often, like where I'm like sick to my stomach, and I got major sick and headache and was just really not in a good place. And then the very next day I was actually off, which was great. That's just not how you want to spend your day off at all. So I had some errands to run, and then I really, the first thing that popped in my head that I wanted was comfort food. And I went to Meatballer's storefront and got food, and it was freaking delicious because I actually took food to go as well. The next week, let's see what was going on. More Star Wars. Took a little break to do Coco and Encanto. I must have been filming something. Again, it's really funny when I see stuff like that, because it's like, okay, clearly I'm taking a break for some reason, and it's so that I can film something or do something in the background. Like it might have been even just cleaning, so that I'm not sitting in front of the TV. We watched Nope. That was a good movie, actually. So for this week, I did the the planner washi. It's like the 1-inch washi, because this was Labor Day weekend when the Hobonichis launched. So it is like planner weekend extraordinaire. Fun little dinner with the fam. We were eating out a lot that week, it looks like. I'm also starting to get ready because this is going to be pickleball week. So this is really my last weekend, and things are starting to like get stressful and tight because I'm going to, as I said before earlier, like This week was really crazy because we don't get like an extra day off or extra hours to play somewhere. So Saturday was spent getting ready for pickleball, going to pickleball, coming home. Like that's it. Like you'll see like nothing, like nothing to do. I was watching Discovery Witches, making bracelets, getting ready, cleaning the house, and then doing pickleball. And then Sunday, I really needed to like get a bunch of stuff done because, and again, all of this is very redundant if you've been hanging out since the A6 flip. But the very next week, we've got my last 2 days in office before I left for the trip with my mom. And I was going to be out the rest of the week for that. But extra bonus, everything that needed to be done at my home, like pretty much like packing, cleaning, whatever, needed to be finished that Sunday and that Monday, because Tuesday I was leaving work to take the boys to their concert, then run to Total Wine because it was on that side of town, and then come home and finish packing. And my mom like met me here and we left the very next morning. So, and that was, again, there's a whole separate video for this, not just the plan. Like literally I show the, I think the 5-year, the Hobonichi 5-year, the A6 AVEC, and the Kokuyo were all in that video. And that's over on the channel. And I think I filmed it pretty soon after the trip, possibly, pretty sure. Y'all, my knees are killing me from standing up straight for 3 hours. Like, this is a lot. We got to like, we're almost there. Whew. I love this washi because it actually came in a ritual planner box, so it's one of my favorite things about this week. Also, I am definitely starting to get into Halloween movies and shows at this point, and also kind of doing a little bit of movie watching surrounding Despicable Me, because we did end up riding the new ride at Universal. So another thing to keep in mind is that I had 2 weeks between the trips. So I pretty much, we got home on Saturday, then Sunday I just did nothing and went to Jeff's, which was probably a really bad idea, because then I was right back in the office, and in the throw of it pretty quickly after, and obviously I had work to make up for, and I'm also, getting ready to be gone again, so it's like quick changing everything from work to home to getting everything set up for Jeff to watch. And then this definitely did not need to be the reading and resting week. And I said that even in that video, but it was so pretty and I wanted to use that washi. I love all the colors, and this is one of my favorite spreads. And then I left on the 30th. I actually have a video for that as well, done the exact same way as the September trip, where I do the planner, like you get to see how it shows up in each one of those planners, whether it's the Kokuyo, the A6, or the 5-year, just like how it gets documented in each of those. So that's really fun. We were on the trip until Thursday, and then that was the day that I drove back. I dropped Taylor off in Macon to continue her side of that journey, which is actually also my hometown. So that was kind of fun to stop and eat there, and it was absolutely delicious. I was very full of anxiety because it was kind of the first time that we were out of that like safe Disney Orlando bubble, and I had also been in the car with her at that point for like 5 hours. So like here we were getting out of the car, it's dark, it's downtown, it was a lot busier than I expected, it took us forever to get food, I was hungry, I was tired, I was ready to go home. Like I was just, so I ate about half of my food and then ate the other half when I got home. One of the cutest things that happened was I got home, put my first load of stuff down, squished my kitten, and then put her down to go get another load. And Oh my gosh, I didn't even make it 3 steps away from my door and she was like wailing. She was so not happy. She thought I was leaving again, which was so sad. We had such a blast on the trip. It really was really great. We built out a lot more free time. And again, I've done a whole video about that and then talked about it in flip through, so I'm not going to go too crazy. I also really love that I used the sample. Again, I tried to be a little bit better about not hoarding samples that I have. But this was like the perfect washi because Minnie is dressed as Winnie and I was dressed as Winnie. So that was really fun. And they actually had their own float this year with Clarabelle and Daisy all dressed, and Minnie dressed as the Sanderson sisters. So that was really fun. And I came home and went headlong into Halloween movie watching. And that obviously is going to continue all the way through October. This is really where I start playing with colored inks, and I do not stop until the end of the year. So I've got like the orange and the black for Halloween vibes. This is the week of the birthday party. The next week I wanted to do a Sweet Dreams kit, but that did not, again, I'm shit at kit. So literally this is the only piece from the kit that ever makes it in here, which is terrible. I'm really hoping with, what is that? Just like a random flake of something. I'm really hoping with the fact that the kits will fit perfectly in the new planner that I get better, but I'm also not holding my breath because I'm not the biggest and best with the kits. This is the Cozy Halloween. Look at how small these YouTube icons are getting. This is one of my favorite color combinations and spreads of the entire planner. I love this like soft, it's the cappuccino brown and the sesame gray from Uniball 1, and I absolutely love how soft it is, and those little pops of black, just like in the washi, hands down one of my favorite. Absolutely. This was the day I was talking about where I didn't feel good, and I did the whole Disney day and got a jack-o'-lantern pizza, and that was a free pizza as well. I do remember that. It might have cost me like $5. Conversely, so after one of my favorite spreads, one of my least favorite spreads, because there's a ton of mistakes, like it all ended up being in black after Wednesday because I forgot to switch the color over, because that's where I was making the change. So personal and work are two different colors. That's how the colors change and how I make the distinction. Also, there were lots of oops, because I was writing out movies that I didn't end up being able to watch prematurely. I do love that I got to use my Guy Fawkes night sticker because I always forget about it. So that was really fun. Again, not hoarding some samples that I have. She hasn't revamped the fall critters. I think it might come this year. I think we might get a spring and a fall revamp. Crossing my fingers a little bit, but I did decide to go ahead and use it. And I really love how this spread turned out, like just those kind of little pops of orange. I also did a gratitude tracker for all of November, which I really enjoyed using. I really think that that was great. And I'm not sure 100%. Yeah, I started, this is also where I switched the washies to be at the bottom because it was making more sense at that point in time, because I was doing my tarots at the beginning of the day, then it was kind of my to-do list for the day, and then I was having my gratitude at the bottom. And it was also when I was starting to realize I was probably going to go with a Hobonichi, and I needed to kind of play around with a different structure because the Hobonichis start at 5 and then go to like 1. So I kind of needed to start switching that a bit because I'm usually up by 5. So I need that space to go ahead and start writing to-dos. So my water trackers kind of move around quite a bit after this because I'm trying to find where it makes the most sense to put them. This is another one of my absolute favorite weeks. There are definitely some messy mistakes in here, but in terms of the washi and color combinations, this is the week of Thanksgiving. This is one of my least favorite weeks. The week before is this awful rainbow week. It just looks, it looks bad. All of the colors look bad. They don't look well placed in my opinion. Like it seems like it's too many different like color. Like I don't have, like we've got pastel, then we've got like the kind of like natural mutity colors, then we've got, I don't know, like there's no rhyme and reason other than rainbow, and it just looks icky in my opinion. I don't like it, but this is really pretty, so I love this. The next week I decided to do Magical Forest. I just felt like Magical Forest, and this is something that's really interesting and I talked about in the setups, I believe, was the fact that this is actually from a sample, but I do actually have full rolls of this. I started with a sample of it from Etsy, and then I did come across some full rolls of it from Pippi Plans and pick them up, and I really love it, and I forget that I have it. You guys, I'm so sorry for my yawning. It's getting worse. We're almost at the end, and I'm just going to flip through. Like, there's really nothing to talk about beyond this point. Like, once we finish this, it's all really, really quick flips, and I'm not going to get, like, too in the weeds. But, yes, this is definitely, like, where I'm starting to immediately make the switch to Christmas movies and Christmas vibes. And I felt like the transition from Thanksgiving and like kind of woodland into magical Christmas time, this was the perfect washi. So I definitely took my chance to use it. And then once again, as you can see, I did absolutely nothing with the kit other than put one sticker down. Swear to God. It's awful. I'm freaking terrible. This is the day we got the Christmas tree. This is the day I had great date days and then had meltdowns. So great. You can see on some days I did really good with knocking out a lot of Christmas movies, and then other days it was like nothing. I did like 3 a day for a couple. I got really lucky and got 3 a day in some cases, and then in others it was just like 1 if I was lucky. Inching closer towards Christmas. So again, you know, as you can see, I'm very much loving this cappuccino brown color because it gets used quite a bit and correlates really well with Christmas. It just is like that soft, really nice brown, and I quite liked it. I just had a lot of issues with it skipping, I think, because the pages were just not steady. Obviously popping some red in there for Christmas. This week was a little wild because Jen was visiting, and we also had client events, and then we were out. So our schedule was all weird and wasn't like we weren't in office the normal days. And then I was really stressed out through this week. Again, this was talking about kind of those 2 weeks between this kind of rent paycheck area and then getting to this paycheck, and just having to pay all your monthly expenses and wrap up Christmas can just be really stressful. So I was just like not in a great mental headspace. And then I was having like some massive issues with workload and my phone issue. I was having a really fucked up phone issue. Then I decided to use the winter critters because it was super cute, and I knew I wanted to try to do some wintry spreads before we got completely done with the year. Which reminds me, my last and final biome didn't end up in December. It ended up in January in the Han. So that's where I was thinking I used them all. But this is super cute. I really like using the gray and the blue instead of a black, or playing off that brown again. I love that the brown ended up being the watching swatches. I really like that. Again, if you're looking for a December flip through, I have not filmed it yet. That's going to come later this week when I regain my voice from this 3.5 hour flip through. This was the week of Christmas. Again, I still can't get over how small my writing got over the course of the year. That's wild. Because I'm always trying to make it smaller, more dainty, and more refined. So I think that's really cool. But I loved using the green and the brown again. Again, using those like muted colors make me so happy. My Uniball ones are probably my favorite colored pens that I have, even if they do skip. And then this is the last week of the year. You'll see that I'm missing some weather. I definitely slacked a lot on this week. I'm not even really sure 100% of the accuracy of this. This is a lot of like hodgepodge put together, looking at a bunch of different places, hoping that it's all accurate. Then I think you get like a week. And again, this is the first week in my new planner. Of course, I've already moved into this. Then all of my watching that was rollover from that first spread at the beginning rolled into this. Then I changed it to this tracking system, and I have it updated all the way through November. For the most part, there are still some blanks of things that I didn't rewatch, but I definitely don't have December in here. I will probably put that in here so I do have the full year, but it's definitely not something that I'm gonna carry into. I love the idea behind the whole looking back sections and stuff, but I just never am frequent enough with them. And then the last thing that I'm gonna this is where a lot of ideas go to die. I've tried all different kinds of trackers and idea boards, not idea boards. A lot of budget stuff goes back here, gift ideas, stuff like that. This is why I feel like daily pages ended up serving a great purpose, because sometimes when I put stuff back here, it literally goes back here to die. This is why the cleaning trackers got moved to monthly pages, because they just weren't being seen enough. I do really like these idea books. Like, this is super fun. I love how that went and turned out. Love these pages. These were really pretty. This was like this was a quarterly setup. I think it was the Q2 setup. My watch lists are back here for Halloween and for Christmas. I do like these idea books. I'm not going to completely rule them out for future reference, or that I might, use them up until they're full. But for the most part, it's not really anything we need to talk too much about. Some have been featured in Flip Through, some in Plan With Me's. I just don't feel like they were the most successful things that I ever did. It's a great place for me to play around with ideas. But if you have any further questions about them, feel free to ask. And again, all of those for the most part are going to be in a setup video somewhere for that particular month. I hope that you... Hey, little touch of diamond. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a really, really long one. It was a very resounding, unanimous choice for me to do the 2023 flip through. So this gives you guys a ton of content. If you're anything like me, I love a long format video for workouts, which sounds really weird. But I do watch a lot of YouTube while I'm working out and getting ideas, so that whenever it kind of like just gets me excited to get off of a treadmill or whatever and immediately go start creating. That's just how my brain works. But I hope you guys got a lot out of this. Again, I'm really sorry that you're not going to have the December flip through today, but I am shot out. My butt is going to, I'm going to go take a shower, heat up my tea, and get my fanny in the bed. I'm done for the day. But thank you guys for anybody and everybody that hung out, that anybody is watching the replay. Again, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything and everything. I am going to take a live stream break for a while, mainly because I just need to get my bearings again and get my life reorganized. And I am going to be doing some traveling in February. And I'm considering bringing them back in March, since I'm no longer planning on traveling in March, and we can do birthday live stream month or something like that. So maybe in March, but until then, we're going to be back on the regular filming schedule. I am so ready to relax, little touch of diamond. It's been a very full month with the holiday extra videos and everything. So I will have your December flip through up hopefully tomorrow is my goal. And then on Sunday's upload is going to be a flip through of the Hobonichi 5-year, and I'm going to flip through the entirety of it. So you're going to get to see everything as it is, ending on the 31st, more or less, and how we're going to start off the new year. So I look forward to giving both of those videos to you guys. And we're going to have more paper crafting stuff coming up this year as I get back into Project Life. So lots of fun things to look forward to. If there's any questions or videos that you guys would like to see more of, please let me know. I love hearing suggestions. It always makes me super happy and gives me new ideas when I get stuck. But I am going to stop blathering. I'm going to go take a shower, heat up my tea, and try to get a good night's rest for the next 2 days in the office. So thank you guys so much again for hanging out. Happy New Year, and I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, and as always, enjoy creating your own little creative wonderlands. Bye.